Well, good evening. Normally we'll start with some music, but I think we'll start with opening a can, eh? Fan-bloody-tastic.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again.
And there we go. The end. There is Sheikh Keith sitting next to us tonight. Wouldn't believe any of this. Got Toon Tipster who's doing some kind of impersonation of me and Keith.
That's it.
We've got Mitch, just probably absolutely mortal, and we've got Holly, who's hiding that addiction to brown ale rather well. And we've got Steve Aisdale. Have you got? Oh, there it is. Hey. I'm on the vodka and coke. I've transferred it to a pint glass for my own health.
It's called doing a penman.
It's called Doing a Penman, yeah. And over 650 watching in the first 2 minutes. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
it's going to be quite an interesting show because we don't have to talk about trying to get a takeover done. We don't have to sit and pretend anymore. We don't have to sit and pretend that we don't really know or we can't really say. And I think probably tonight is going to be a celebration. We've got a few faces who are going to make an appearance throughout the show. Obviously, Joe is joining us for the full duration. Holly's on.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've got to let him stay on.
Oh, Bali.
And we will have all your usual favourites as well, including Toon Lookalike, Tweet of the Week. There is a Troll of the Week in there, believe it or not. And we're just going to chat about, what happened and the future, I guess. So, Keith, I'm going to come to you because all you did was write a letter. How do you feel, mate, after, the morning after the night before?
Emotional. I hope I get through this tonight. Still can't believe it. I feel relieved. That we got a result. I've like the last day or so, I've been thinking, what happened if it didn't go well? What happened if we didn't get it? How stupid we would have looked. And then I just thought how much we all just stuck to the plan and just kept telling the truth. And how much abuse we all got for telling the truth. And how much we got told we were telling lies for telling the truth. But I feel amazing. I feel as though we've got best owners in the world. When I see people coming on the telly saying they don't want them, I say, well, go and support somebody else. It's just so easy. Honestly, I'm just not interested in all these clowns who are nitpicking. Just honestly, this is dream time. We've got grandkids and we've got grandfathers who are going to see wins in our lifetime. And, I'm talking about being able to compete on a football field. So I just feel as though if I'd known what it was going to be like, this journey, I wouldn't have took it. But having taken it, I'm pleased I did. And just the fans have been absolutely amazing. I can't tell anybody how good you've made me feel. I was up at the ground last night and I was with Liam Kennedy and we enticed Mr. Hasty and Jed and Sonny to come out. And it was just like being still with the family. And we were in the 9 Bar, we had some beers now, we were in Strawberry, we went up to the shops, we went to Tesco's to try and get some more, and the queues were just incredible. But the amount of fans that came up, and people saying, why are you sitting in the corner? I says, because I've only got 2 eyes, and I'm just going to get the same view on what's going to happen as you are. I'm just here purely to watch what happens, and I'm just a fan. They say, you say that? No, I said, it's right. I says, I only came for this to happen, it's done. And I don't have to argue with anybody anymore. I don't have to justify. And a bloke, an old fella, come up to me last night, which is nice when I can say that. And he says, he just whispered to me, he says, remember this, son. He says, you only need to convince yourself of what you've done. And I says, you're so right. You're so right. I know what I've done. I know I've been. It's been amazing. But I want to say to you all, when you're on here, that, the crowd, this crowd, NUFC Matters has been the vertebrae for me. It's been the backbone and the support. Like, when you look and you get some crap, because we've all had it. When we look at you lot, I was with Holly last night, there was a crowd of us, And we had Holly round all, you know, all the crowds and everything, and Liam and Liam was filling up. Liam Kenny was crying, and you just look and think, Jesus, what have we done? You know, what have we done here? It's mind breaking what's going to happen, and you know, these people, don't underestimate them. You know what I mean? I've been asked 62,000 times which manager I want, and I give the best answer you can ever give. I said whoever they pick. And then they said, seriously, if you had to name one, I said, oh, I'll name you one. I don't want to say Bruce. That's who I don't want. And they just said, God, that's so right. And I was supposed to be like Chris Hall today, and I just said, Chris, whoever they pick, when people spend hundreds of millions of pounds, when they've got pedigree in business and they've made hundreds of millions of pounds, they're not going to get it wrong. They're going to know better than us. They're going to take advice every minute of every day to get the right character in the club. And I would remember what we are, we supporters. We're here to support their judgment. And supporters aren't people that complain about things unnecessarily. There's a lot of fans, you know, 95% of it are rightfully disappointed about the decisions made over the last 14 years. I spoke to the club this week and they said they've made mistakes. But what we've got to do now is become supporters again, because you never ever have a better chance than this. You've got the best backers, buyers, people run your football club. Let them run it. Let them run it. And just support them. And if they get something wrong, support them through that. And if they get something wrong, be the kind of people that get noisier and more supportive and be more vocal. Because your role now, seriously, none of us here can do anything to tell these people how to run business or make money. But what we can do is show them we're the best supporters in the world. And I know we are, so let's do it.
Yeah. Great stuff. And Holly, I mean, you've come of age. I hate to say it, and I know you don't like age references, but from your perspective, you joined this crusade late, but you made a hell of an impact. And the trip down to London that we all made, for the protest. Joe was there, Steve Hasty was there, Keith was there, I was there, Neil was there in spirit. He's obviously in a different country, but he's supporting it. And you came of age down there because you came to the forefront. You did something which grown men didn't do. You handed the letter in, you stood and made a speech outside Downing Street, and then you've just took the bull by the horns. And you're the first person, as we showed last night, your video footage that you kindly sent me for the show last night. You were the first person to interview Amanda Staveley.
Yeah, I was so lucky to bump into Amanda, being one of the first people to meet. That was fantastic. And the fact that she actually thanked me for what I've done was just surreal, to be honest. It was so humbling. You think, wow, what amazing people these are, because all I am is an average Newcastle United supporter. I've went to games home and away all of my life, and to get recognition from the new owners is fantastic, to be honest. And I'm still kind of living in dreamland now. And I think certainly after meeting both Amanda and Mia Dad, I'm filled with a lot of confidence that these are the perfect people to take us forward. I think they've got very high ambitions which match the fans, and I think the limits can be endless. And to be honest, some of the things that, like some of the heights I think we can reach, it's hard to comprehend, to be honest. I heard Amanda Staveley's interview saying 5 to 10 years she wants to push to try and win the Premier League. And you just think, wow, what a contrast to the shit we've been through in the past 14 years. All I've ever known is Mike Ashley. And from my perspective, it felt like he was never going to leave the club, because that's all I'd known. And finally, the day came where he did, and it was certainly worth the wait. Yes, we've waited 18 months for the deal to go through, but for me, I've waited a lifetime. Yeah,
and that's what people, up and down the country will be thinking, and I said it, that just the whole speed of it yesterday, Mitch, was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, we've been on this journey for the last 4 years. We've been privy to a lot of the information. We had Zoom calls with our prospective new owners over the last 4 years, along with John Woff, and ultimately those Zoom calls, they were always positive, Mitch. I knew, because I'd met these people. I knew that they were the right people, but you've been in this position before, along with Steve, and I'll come to Steve as well. But you've been in this position before with prospective new buyers and owners, and you've almost got one over the line. Want to use a Pardew phrase, but what was your view on Amanda and Mia Dad when you had those first get-togethers online?
Well, Holly's picked up very much on what we felt just through Zoom calls with Amanda and Maida was the levels of energy, the levels of positivity, the determination, the absolute determination that Amanda and Maida had to make it happen. You know, we've said for a while, Mike Ashley's is not an unwilling seller. He was just a bloody difficult one. And me and Steve could see that from, you know, a number of things we've been involved with in the past. And we were told, they told us 9 months ago or thereabouts, when it happens, it'll happen quick. It'll be like dominoes. But by God, 24 hours. You know, it was, yesterday was quite a weird day. And I didn't really know how to take it. And I know the effect it's had on both yourself, Steve, and Steve Hasty as well. The pair is yesterday, I'm full on giving it the full cans and going for it, and used to were flat as farts at one point, the pair you. And I can understand why, because I mean, for you, it's been 4 years of being accused of all sorts. For me and Steve, it's probably more like 14 years of working from the fledgling trust to working with the 2 Canadian bids to getting involved with Midhat and Binzaya group, and that's a story in itself. And it's interesting though, today I've had messages off of Steve Hayward, who's somebody who I've never named out of courtesy, but he got in touch with us today. He helped me with Binzaya group and basically offering any kind of support he can give. I've had Jay French on, another name I've not really mentioned, who would have been the CEO had one of the Canadian bids come off. And he's been in touch. He says, look, Mitch, I've got reams and reams of documents still, and all the sort of the due diligence that we did and the discussions we had about stadium. Because remember, he builds stadiums for a living. That's what he does. It's one of the things he does. And, you know, offering help and support. Free, gratis. I'll give them anything you like, just for the good of the Newcastle United community, and that's what this club's like. It's once everybody decides, right, we're going to get behind this and we're getting together, it'll be fantastic. And the sky's the limit for we now. We've got the right people in place, because as hard a seller as Mike Ashley is, we needed somebody with deep pockets, determination, and the energy that both Amanda and Maida have had, and we've seen that in numerous Zoom calls that we had with them. And Holly's picked up on it in one meeting. You know instinctively this is the right person. Yeah. Yeah,
100%. Joe, obviously you've been our Toon tipster for a few months now, and you've come across, you've come along for the ride, and you've certainly entertained people with your Duncan Goodhue looks. How did you feel? How did you feel yesterday when the news broke, mate?
I don't know, Steve, to be honest. What a day. Happened to be my birthday as well, which was really nice. I went through it all, mate. Overriding feelings of being absolutely delighted, of course. But I've texted each individual on that stream there yesterday, because not only am I delighted for the football club, not only am I delighted for the region and everything else we've spoke about over this past certainly 18 months, if not 4 years. I'm just delighted for you lot, and especially that man there who sits above me now, with whatever that is on his head.
Hold that thought, mate, because we've got a celeb in the ranks.
Oh,
Clark, how are you, mate?
Clarky.
Hi, hello everybody.
Lee, I've had to interrupt Joe, but that's no hardship. How do you feel, mate, as an ex-player, somebody who gave a lot of pleasure to us all sitting around here? How do you feel with that news yesterday? How did the ex-players feel?
The big sentence is we've got our club back, isn't it? That's the thing. We've got our club back. We can look forward. We can dream again, can't we? We can go to the game and have optimism. We can look forward to enjoying a match day experience. We can have, look in the future, a team that we're going to be proud of, a stadium that's going to be given tender love and care and be brought back to greatness like it should be. And the most important thing is a connection between the leaders of the football club and the fans. That's what we've missed for 14 years. It's been a hollow, empty existence. It's been a nothing club. It's only been big because of the support. It's only been big because we've filled the ground out every week, 52,000, and we've took the full allocation for the away games. That's the only big thing of being about Newcastle United for the last 14 years. Nothing else. Nothing big on the pitch. Nothing big in the boardroom. Nothing big to shout about. Nothing big in our results, our performance level, our finishing positions in the league. But now there's excitement. It's back to 1982. KK's arrival as a player. It's back to 1992. KK's arrival as a manager. It's back to 1996, breaking the world record to sign Mr. Shearer. It's back to 1999, getting Sir Bobby to come be our manager. And this follows in them great days. And hopefully we can get the reaction what all those times did as well, because we had positive times as well on the pitch.
Lee, I'm hoping it's back in 1993, and it's another one of those trips on a coach on Gosforth High Street with you hanging over the edge. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
Great, honest.
Those days. I mean, my career could have been over before it was begun if it hadn't been
the John Hall holding you in case you went over the edge.
Well, he did put extra security on the top of the bus to make sure I didn't go over the top. He'd asked where I'd been before. When we arrived at the Gosforth Park to get on the open top bus, he did say it was, Jesus Christ, Lee, where you been?
You'll have had time. I know you were sitting watching Sky Sports. I know you did a little interview like me and Holly did yesterday, and you were on there giving your views. But I mean, you've listened to what Amanda's had to say. You'll have seen the statement from Jamie Rubin. You've already said this is great. It's a great day for the club. I mean, what's your feelings on moving forward? I mean, I've tried to temper people's expectations, Lee, because Rome isn't built in a day. You've seen big takeovers. You were at Fulham when Al Fayed was there. It's about basically getting it right in all sections of the club, isn't it? That's how we're going to move forward.
Of course it is, Steve. And obviously I was part of the squad and the makeup of the club during the Magpie Group takeover. I had a behind the scenes shout there because I was only 15, 16. I was being linked at the time about going to Liverpool. The board at the time, Gordon McKeague, Stan Seymour and all them local businessmen, the club were running out of money, and basically I was up for sale, and they were trying to get me to make the move happen so they could get the money invested in the club. But part of the Magpie Group through Sir John Hall, they set up a meeting with me and my father to tell us, listen, sit tight, we're going to be taking over. We see the local players as a massive part of the future, and the rest was history. It's a lot harder now than what we done in the 90s. It took us a couple of years to catch up, to get promoted and then start challenging the big clubs and getting into European positions. It's a lot harder now with the finance because it's going to take a massive jump to get there. And it's going to, like you say, everyone's going to have to be patient now. Everyone's so excited. But as long as I have patience and understand we've got real owners. I love their first statement. Their ambition was 5-10 years, and we want to be winning the Premier League. We want to be challenging for the Champions League. That's proper ambition. We've just put up with 14 years as we'll finish 17th. We've put up with 14 years as we can't upgrade our training ground because we're pumping all our money into our squad. Absolute nonsense. Now we've got people who are shouting from the rooftops. I remember when Kevin and Sir John said it. They said, we want to win the championship to get into the Premier League and go and challenge Man United and get this club into Europe. Probably the rest of the country laughed their heads off, thought these are crackpots, these Geordies. But we've done it, and we've done it quickly. This might take a little bit longer because the way football's gone now, the way the world is and the finances have changed dramatically. But just be patient. They're going to do it. It's going to take time. The difference is the superstars... If you're talking about the highest echelon of players, the level 1 players, the real superstars, the top draw ones, they've got the choice of any club in Europe, and they're not really going to get the difference in salary by picking these clubs. And
yeah, we've lost him there.
What Newcastle can't offer them at the moment is Champions League football.
Yeah.
That's
No, you're right.
These players want Champions League. They want Champions League winners' medals in their trophy cabinet. They want championships in their trophy cabinet. They've got the money. They can get the money from 7, 8, 9 different clubs. We've got to get to that level before we can start competing. So we've got to go down a bit, get the players that are going to get us from being in relegation zone, get us into the top 10. And then the next tranche is get us in the top 10, get us into Europe, and then bang, let's go for it. The short-term goal, start winning some games, get the squad of players some confidence, get out the relegation zone, because we still have a lot of games before January. You know, we've got to start winning some points and winning some games, because we cannot afford to, come into January window and be stuck in that bottom 3 and have a little bit of a gap between us and the teams above us.
Great stuff. Lee, I know you're out and about, mate. We really do appreciate you coming on, mate. And, you're a big supporter of the show.
Well done, everybody. Well
brilliant.
done.
Brilliant.
Cheers, Lee.
Take care, mate. Great to see Lee Clark. And I did say we'll have a few guests on at some point throughout the night, some faces who you'll recognise. So big thank you to Lee for coming on. So back to you, Joe. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? The last 24 hours, seeing Amanda and my dad, Jamie Rubin walking into the club. The back page of the Chronicle, which you sent me out to get, Mike Ashley, the end, obviously sold on the front page of the Evening Chronicle. It just feels real now, doesn't it?
Fantastic.
Have you got no more guests today?
No, it's definitely Joe.
Yeah, right, okay. No,
You will have.
Carry on, Joe.
I thought Clarky was coming on to shout at me for not putting him in my dream team. I mean, Steve, what can I say? Just before Lee come on there, I was getting round to the point of just being absolutely delighted on many levels, but particularly for you guys and particularly for old Keith. I think the one thing that I've picked up on is something that Holly touched on. I think we've heard from our new owners probably more in this last 24 hours than we have in the last 14 years from the last lot. And just to hear that the way that she's talking with passion, the enthusiasm, and most importantly, she's talking about us. She's talking about the fans of Newcastle United. And it's really, really easy to say, yes, we'll have Conte tomorrow, and yes, we'll sign Mbappe and Kane in January and all that stuff. But actually what she said was, I want to talk to people, and we want to talk to people in the community, and we want to find out what you want and how we line this up to do it together. The statement from PIF, we are ambitious and we will be challenging. What more can we want? In my heart, we're the biggest and best football club in the world anyway, whether it's McKeag, whether it's John Hall, whether it's Ashley. Now we can actually believe it. Newcastle United are about to go to the top of the tree, and I'm still all over. I'm still half drunk. Obviously, my hair all fell out last week. Class. What can I say? Class.
Steve, hair falling out, something you've never had to deal with, as we'll see in the lookalikes later.
I'm glad Clark can come on, because I haven't got the worst haircut on the show now.
Steve, it's been amazing. This ride. I mean, there's been some ups, there's been some downs, there's been some major downs. My biggest down was yesterday, and of all the days for it to happen, everything hit me like a ton of bricks. And I went out and told everybody about it, and luckily I had the podcast last night. And I want to thank you all for your support. But yeah, it was a strange feeling for me. And when I spoke to John Waff, he'd said, ultimately, it's because you've been pushing an immovable object for the last 4 years, and now you don't know what to do. And I think he was right. And I know you were a little bit, the same as me yesterday, weren't you? It's a weird feeling.
Oh, absolutely, Steve. And it was a really strange feeling, because it was a feeling that I'd never experienced before. You build yourself up. We known for a couple of months that this was happening. I did send a text to a couple of my pals that they reminded me about yesterday, and I said to them, I have a feeling this will be over by October. And somebody forwarded that text back to us last night and said, hey, what's happened? It's only the beginning of October. You said the end of October. And but we've lived with this for so long, and we knew, and we've always shown that bit of positivity. But I think it was like I say, it was 2 months ago. I think we almost certainly knew that it was going through, and it was hard to describe, Steve. It was hard to describe, because it was like you suddenly hit a wall. You know, you're driving, and we've been driving this car at 90 mile an hour, and then all of a sudden, wham, you're heading towards the wall, and we crossed the finishing line first, and then you hit the wall, and it was like, what's going on? What's going on? And it was like, it was almost a surreal experience of, has it really happened? Surely, you know, has it sunk in? And we're seeing everybody euphoric, and I think it was a case of like, it was like that, you unwound a little bit, and you just thought, wow, that's it. You can relax. You can get off your chest everything you said, but you didn't want to get it all off your chest. You still wanted to. You still were in that mindset that you had to stay stum. You had to just take that ride, beyond that ride and beyond that journey. But you are still in the same mindset of confidentiality, if that's the word to use, or, you know, honoring what you agreed right 4 years ago, where, you know, you made those promises, or you made the statements to each other that, you know, we stick together, but at the same time we don't give anything away, we don't do anything that could jeopardize this in any way, shape, or form. And the longer it went on, the more we got to that point where, you know, it was so close, it was so tight, and you just knew that you didn't want to be the one that said something that could blow the dreams of the 52,000 plus the, you know, 500,000 that live on Tyneside almost. And that, I know that sounds quite flippant, but it's the way your mind suddenly works. It was weird. But when I got the call last night from my brother, and he said, we're going up, it's part of history, this, we've got to be there. And I was like, no. I said, you know, I still don't feel like 100%. I don't know what I'll be. He's going, oh, you've got to come. I'll be there in 15 minutes. So him and Sonny came over. I rang Keith, and Liam and Keith were sitting in 9 bar, which hopefully will soon be known as Shiraz again. And Liam was just filing a little bit of copy, and sure enough, the lads picked it up. We went up, and within 10 minutes, I went up. So pleased, because I saw that outpouring from everybody around us. I'd seen a little bit of it on Sky and that type of thing, but when you were there, it reminded me of Covent Garden '98. It reminded me of Trafalgar Square. It reminded me of the trips to Wembley. It reminded me of the courtyards at Barcelona in '97, where, you know, everybody was there singing, dancing, so excited, so buoyant, so bubbly. And I just thought, you know what? This could be the future. This is the future. I'm hoping this is. At some point in the next 5 to 10 years, as Amanda said, we might be challenging, and we might be winning something. And that's good enough for me, because after what we've suffered over 14 years, I feel as though that's what every single person who has worn that black and white shirt, calls himself a Geordie, deserves, wants, and hopefully gets, Steve.
Yeah, Kevin McGarry says it shouldn't be called Shiraz Bar, it should be called Keith's Cans. It could be. You know,
I've just not 1 hour.
You know what? I just think it's it just shows as well that, you know, so many people have persevered and pushed forward. And you know, one man who has helped us massively throughout the whole process is just about to join us, and it's Liam Kennedy. Good evening.
All right.
Hey, Liam.
Hello, my mate.
Good to see you. Good to see
you here. Keith, look at the clippy.
Good to see you, Liam. We've got another guest that's gonna follow you quite quickly, but before I get because I know you're gonna stay with us. Give us your feelings as a journalist first and foremost, and then as a fan. How do you feel about what's happened in the last 24 hours?
As a journalist, an incredible change in approach. We've gone from 14 and a half years of almost a wall of silence from a football club to an open book, effectively. Somebody who wants to interact with the staff who work there, somebody who wants to interact with the fans. It's an amazing turnaround, and it's amazing what a couple of days can do. A little bit of will, a little bit of pride in owning the football club. I've loved some of the words that have come out, the narrative that they're painting. These people care. These people really, really wanted to buy this football club, and they care about what happens to it. And I know for a fact that the staff who are present today, from the club and the foundation were absolutely blown away by the professionalism and the openness of Amanda and Murdad, who presented to them today. Really blown away by some of the things that they said. Just the idea on caring about the staff. So yeah, as a journalist, I can see we're in for exciting times. Not just from a footballing perspective, but from an openness perspective. We're going to get. It's like night and day compared to Mike Ashley. As a fan, I'm just mentally excited, totally like giddy. Anybody who's seen us last night will know the same. It was a weird one because I kept bubbling all the time. I was an emotional wreck. Every time I turned around and looked and scanned my eyes across the crowd and seen lads, dafties chucking beer up in the air, all singing songs, people hugging each other, just joy that we haven't seen. Newcastle United games over the last couple of years, it's been like going to a wake. It's been a really, really tough experience. That last night was football. That was supporting a football club like Newcastle United. And every time I scanned my eyes across and let my mind wander and think about the size of what had just happened to our football club that we all love, I started welling up, honestly. Every time I was tears in my eyes. I had to keep stopping myself and thinking, come on, snap out of it. But it was an amazing experience, and I'm so glad that I went. It was one of those nights where I would say, like, obviously I was young and went to the Alan Shearer one. I remember Owen, when we signed Owen, and I know that didn't turn out the way everybody wanted, but it was just one of those moments where you feel like, I've got to be there. And it just St. James's Park sucked me in to just being there. Everybody here was there, apart from Mitch, of course, but I know he would have been there, and if he could have. But yeah, it was. I was
too busy doing Jaeger bombs and rock bottoms, mate. Tell you.
I can believe it.
I'm pleased you got your words right there. So when you said "suck me in,"
I had my 5 minutes bubble in the back of the taxi on the way home from the club. Back to here.
When you saw the ball.
It was honestly, Steve forwarded us a message, and it was that message just tripped us over. Taxi driver must have thought I was having a mental breakdown or something in the back of the car.
The last time I saw Keith Patterson have a mental breakdown was when our next guest was sparring up, and it's good to have this guest on because there's a big fight this weekend. There's Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder, match 3. This is going to be a rematch, this one, but I think it'll be a lot friendlier. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen and viewers, Ben Jacobs. Ben versus Keith Patterson.
Ben.
The
return. Turned up.
I'll beat you and Mrs. Son. I'll beat you and Mrs. You'll never beat this tonight after this has gone through. There's nobody who beats after this go through.
Ben, can I just say, first of all, from my perspective, thank you so much for coming on the shows during this whole takeover period, because you were great as a guest, and I've seen you and watched you on other podcasts. You've been equally as good on there and equally as fair. But it's just been delightful to have your input, and I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you on the shows that we've had, and I hope it'll continue now that the takeover's gone ahead. And just give us your thoughts on what you've witnessed. I know you were on the train to Newcastle yesterday, and you probably had a little bit of a wry smile, I guess, because as an outsider, you've been able to witness this. Liam's a fan. You're not a fan of Newcastle. You're a Leicester fan. What's your views been of this?
Well, I think once you take away the backstory, it's obviously fantastic to see fans celebrating and having that affinity again with their football club. And I think Liam touched upon it a moment ago, and he's been brilliant throughout this. It's exactly what a local journalist should be doing, pushing to get transparency for the fans. And he's been spot on with that kind of analysis throughout, because he's given fans that missing angle. Obviously, my perspective throughout all of this was to bring a kind of Middle Eastern knowledge. So I have a slightly different vantage point, and I'm not a Newcastle United fan. But what I saw for the first time in 14 years, having been up to St. James's Park many a time as a commentator and a journalist, was a reiteration of what this club should stand for and could stand for heading forwards. And the irony is not lost upon me as an outsider, if you like. The geographical location of that stadium, sitting effectively on a hill overlooking the entire city. And it couldn't have been more isolated under Mike Ashley. And now it feels like there's not just ambition, but there's unity. And why that's important is because, yes, if in theory Newcastle get to where they want to be on and off the field, they'll be a superpower, one of the biggest superpowers in football. And of course, that's hugely exciting for fans and those connected with the club. And in addition to that, if they get to where they want to be off the field as a global brand, they'll be commercially viable as well. But that's the future. And we know that it could go according to plan, and it could end up with the Premier League title and the Champions League title, or the little club like Leicester could keep on winning it and ending up in the Champions League. And obviously I'd love that scenario to happen, but let's have Newcastle finishing in second place behind my team. But I think before all of that, it isn't just excitement. What I noticed last night was an outpouring of relief as well. And it's that sort of dual reaction. Those that were celebrating were not only happy, they were exhausted and they were relieved and they were free in a sense. And when you see that amount of people gathering in and around St. James's Park, coming together and essentially saying, forget about the past, forget about the backstory. We can debate that another day. Me and Keith will go into a pub, we'll have a few beers, and we will debate that, I'm sure. And we'll probably still disagree about the ins and the outs and the backstory. But it's not the time and the place to necessarily delve into that now. Now it's about a raw outpouring of joy for fans of a football club that have been beaten down for 14 years. And I don't even think it would matter if it wasn't a superpower, if the money wasn't there, if the backstory wasn't there, because anyone other than Ashley would have provoked some of this reaction. But it's the two extremes, I guess. It's one man that's left a club in limbo, that leaves a club winless in the Premier League, that leaves a team 19th in the table. And one of the best things for me, talking to fans last night, was not just what's happened and what the future could hold, but also the timing. Because if the consortium had got in January, as great as the reaction would have been, they'd have lost a transfer window, and who knows what position they would have inherited Newcastle United Football Club in. But now they've got the club quicker than most expected, and most importantly, they've got the vast majority of the season and a transfer window to work with. And given the first task is about reshaping the narrative, the style, the manager, and getting the football club out of trouble, that is pivotal. Because you can almost now say with certainty, with the money and ambition they've got, that Newcastle United are not going to finish in the bottom three. I hope I don't curse that for you. But I think having that January window makes all the difference in the short term. And then they can lay foundations. And then, of course, once this season is out the way, and who knows, they might go on a cup run this season. They might end up somewhere around Europe this season, especially with the Europa Conference League as well. But forgetting all of that, get this season out the way. And then the dreams can really start. And then the future of the club will really change dramatically. But it's just that raw outpouring of joy and relief that struck me last night. And I think that's the first thing to focus on, because the fans have been the victim in all of this.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question about the human rights aspect, Ben, because, you know, it's been something that has been brought up. I've watched the news today, and, you know, I've seen United for Pride come out in particular and give their statement today. And, you know, they've wished the owners well, and they've highlighted their concern. We've seen Amnesty International come out and have their say over the last 24 hours. We've seen, obviously, you know, Khashoggi's widow come out and also have her say. But ultimately, you know, can you understand why most Newcastle fans have not really, you know, understood that particular part of this? You know, that they just want to see Ashley out, they want a new owner in, and they haven't really given consideration to that, you know?
Of course. I mean, it's perfectly understandable that a football fan would think about their football club in football terms. And of course, every fan should do their research and know exactly what they're getting into. I think that because officially the line is that there is legally binding proof of separation, any Newcastle fan that didn't want to delve into the human rights issue will simply say that if the Premier League is satisfied, then a fan of Newcastle United can be satisfied as well. But it doesn't get rid of that agenda, and it shouldn't get rid of the need for transparency. So I think that there's 2 points on transparency. One is that this new ownership group need to continue to be as bullish about transparency as they were in the context of the takeover. And that means being as open and frank and honest with fans as possible on every issue that they possibly can. Sometimes they won't be able to, but they could, for example, put the Newcastle United Supporters Trust with a seat on the board. They can lay out their plans, and some of those plans can have open and honest fan consultation. And they've got so many easy wins. I mean, you can slap the name Shearer back on the bar, you can pull down the Sports Direct branding. And if there's openness and transparency with the fans, then that is a start. But if they're going to be transparent about that, they also have to use their position to be transparent about everything else too. So when we talk about human rights, there's two ways of looking at it. One is that they're just ignored, and that's the wrong approach for me, even if people argue that it's too big for only Newcastle United. But two is, we know their position. So forgetting legally binding proof of separation, we still know that they've got an ear to a number of people in government. We still all know who their chairman is. We still know the links between PIF and the planes that killed Khashoggi. And it's not worth getting into at this point. And I understand fans saying it's way too big, it's got nothing to do with us. But they should still, as a socially conscious, responsible, inclusive football club, be aware of who is above them in the hierarchy. And the fact they've got access to the Saudi Arabian government should mean, with any future debate and discussion, they play a role. And that role may not quite be as big as to debate every instance of human rights abuse in Saudi Arabia, but it certainly should pertain to discussing things around inclusion. So Amanda Staveley was very smart in referencing rainbow laces and Newcastle United women, for example. And we all know Saudi Arabia's record historically around the treatment of women and more generally inclusivity. So it's really important, therefore, that they take an issue like that, which is far broader than them in Saudi Arabia, and they bring it back to Newcastle United in an open and transparent manner. And that will mean, in my view, starting a women's football team that officially falls under Newcastle United and funding it. It will mean wearing the rainbow laces and backing that throughout Saudi Arabia, because then what they're doing is they're not taking an issue that's bigger than the football club and feeling like they have to answer to it, which a lot of fans will say is unfair. What they're doing is translating a pertinent issue in Saudi Arabia into football terms and acting in a socially conscious and transparent way. And if they do that, then it's a way of utilizing their influence within Saudi Arabia. It's a way of using their Saudi Arabian government contacts, but bringing it back to football. So the short answer to your question is that I empathize with a Newcastle United fan who perhaps feels that a lot of the human rights stuff was too big to come into the takeover, but these issues shouldn't be ignored because sport allows a platform to discuss them.
Yeah, great stuff. Look, I did want you on. I can see people in the chat, saying what they want to say. But listen, Ben, it's important to have you on because at the end of the day, you were part of the journey. Whether people like that or not, you were kind enough to come on and give us an alternative view. And that's what I wanted when we got you on. We watched you, we saw you on other channels. And I think, I haven't checked the figures. I'm not one who sits here and looks back on old shows. But I know at the time it was probably our most watched show. And that was a great debate between you and Keith, I thought. And Keith, just your final words, really. I guess I'll leave for you to Ben. Your thoughts on the whole process and what Ben's had to say.
History will say Keith was right, Ben was wrong.
He's never mind. Listen, Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, for me. I've enjoyed having you on. Look forward to getting you on again. And I've seen a lot of people saying, can we have Tillemans? Newcastle's after your manager. I'm sure that won't happen. I think Newcastle will be aiming a little bit lower for a manager on this occasion. But
can I just say as well before I go, two very quick things. Three very quick things, actually. One piece
you don't do quick things.
That's not what your wife said.
Wait, it's funny. I put a lot of weight on. Every time I come around and sort your mum out, she gives us a tea cake.
That's why he's
Right, okay, Ben. You've got your three wishes. Here we go.
in 10 seconds. Number one, a word of advice to Keith, which is just don't go to Saudi Arabia wearing that because you can be arrested.
I understand that. I understand that, but it's black and white, Ben. So get over that.
It is. It's a friendly piece of advice. That's all I'm saying. The second thing is every Newcastle United fan seems to want the entire Leicester team. So I will give you Chowdhury and I will give you Barnes or Tielemans, but please, 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 hands off Rodgers. And then the final thing I'd say is, even though Keith said history will show that he is right and I am wrong, let's not forget that piracy, whatever you may hear in the official statements, is still very much the backdrop of all of this. And Keith, of course, said that it had nothing to do with piracy. So people can kind of decide the opinion that they want to take. But for me, I'd rather have a beer with you guys. I'd rather wish you well for the season. And I'd rather say, regardless of our disagreements, let's all just enjoy what's going to be really exciting times for Newcastle United.
Yeah. You know what, Ben? That's what it's all about. And I do personally look forward to welcoming Newcastle at some point, seeing you. Please keep in touch. Let us know when you're up here. And thanks for coming on and being a good sport.
All the best, guys.
Take care, Ben.
Cheers, Ben.
Great to have Ben on. And look, I think it was great to have him on because ultimately he does split opinions. And I see that in the chat and people asking if there's a mute button, etc. And I just think the last time it was left open, Keith. I thought it was nice to have a situation there. And Martin says Keith 1, Ben 0.
Yeah. What I would say, Steve, is that you talked about the women's football team. Then Newcastle do have a women's football team. Unfortunately, it plays in the lower echelons of the ladder. A lot of fans probably are not aware that Mike Ashley has underwritten that women's football team since about 2017. It was going to go bust. It was closing down, and Mike brought it in under the ownership of the Newcastle Foundation. And he put a couple of directors in, but he insisted, and I know this because I was told at one of the fan forum meetings that we had back in December 2019, when the question was asked about the women's football team by the diversity group. And the women's football team's underwritten. Mike agreed to underwrite any losses that the women's football team might have encountered to keep that team going, to keep the girls in the league that they were playing, and hopefully be able to move forward. And it was put under the foundation, as I said. So we do have a women's football team. Hopefully that women's football team can grow. Hopefully it can pick up some more quality players. It can move up the ladder. But women's football is a very, very difficult thing to move up to get into the Women's Super League. It's a bit of a closed shop at times. But I wish the girls well. And it's just when you get facts, when you get people saying things about the club and they're slightly ajar or they're slightly misplaced in their thinking, I think it's important to correct those type of statements. And those who know. I said it on Twitter this morning in a conversation. Those who know. But as long as we get our facts right, as long as we talk about things in the correct way, then we don't have a problem.
I think you're right, Steve. Yeah, and great. It's great just to have that clarified. I think, and it is very, very important. Go on, Keith.
Can I say something? If ever a doctor comes in and tells me that after a man makes a speech you're going to die, I hope it's Ben who does the speech.
Yeah, I love it.
I could live for years. It might be nothing to worry about.
Football Style is on here and says, look, it's about getting the alternative view of Football Style. I presume you must be in Saudi. Look, from our perspective, we have to give the other side just an opportunity to say that. And if you know the history about Ben Jacobs and Keith Patterson from our show and the history of Ben Jacobs throughout this whole process, then you will understand why we had him on.
Yeah.
That's why we had him on. Go on,
I think Steve is the problem is as a fan base, we've looked at Saudi investing a lot of other sports and a lot of other things, and nobody else seems to be given the onus that we have to suddenly be the moral arbiters of everything in sport. And people don't talk enough about other countries and human rights. You could say the same about the country I live in at the moment and their ownership of Man City. You could say the same about Qatar and their ownership of PSG. You could say the same about Thailand, who own Ben's club. King Power, who own Ben's club, are one of the biggest companies. They're a duty-free company in Thailand. I know Thailand very well. I've been there often enough. I love the place. It's not a place I'd like to be put in jail, though. So do you want to talk about Thailand's human rights? You can go on and on and on about it, yet everybody seems to want to talk about solely Saudi Arabia, and in some respects I get it, I understand it, and I think we've got to be aware of it. We said this a long time ago. Welcome to the geopolitical world that we are now being thrust into the middle of, that we are now front and centre of. And I get why we should tempt our fans not to just hoist Saudi flags into everything anyway, because that is becoming sports washing. We should, as a fan base, be able to stand up and say, hang on a minute, can we talk about this? And I think now we've got this ownership structure at the club, we can. And it's almost like a journey and a partnership that we can grow in some very interesting ways together, what the region's going to benefit from, not just the football club, but also how we can help Saudi. And as they grow as a country, they're still a very young country. And the change, even in my time in the Gulf, has been significant. The change in the country I live in my time here, has been significant. But you can't say it's perfect. We question human rights here in the UAE. But nobody seems to give that to Man City fans to decide. Yet we're the ones being made to be the arbiters of it all. And that's what I think frustrates everybody. Yeah. And I get what Ben's saying. Now you can turn around and say, well, they've deemed that the separation between the company that's bought our club and the government. It's an easy way out. It's probably a lazy way out. And I think as a fan base, we question everything. We went out to road shows to tell people to come and do this and do that. And the first bloody question we'd get asked is, why, like? And so we're going to question it, no doubt about it. And we'll question it in really intelligent ways. And I know we will. And particularly now, everybody's focused on one thing going forward. Newcastle United, we're going to question things the right way.
Yeah. Liam, I'm going to come to you next. And that's really just ask you about Mike Ashley's final words. He did have a statement to put out there. The nuts and bolts of it were that he thought he'd done a good job. He'd left us debt-free. And that essentially, he could have taken a bigger offer, but he decided the offer that eventually came in from Amanda Meerdad was good enough, so he took that one. I mean, it was hardly a great way to say goodbye. I mean, he could have just shut the door and not said anything. It would have been better for us after 14 years of misery. But what did you make of what he had to say on his way out the door?
I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, Steve. I'm not interested in the slightest in anything he's got to say. So I've not read it, nor will I read it. I'm not interested. He's in the past. We're going forward now. And that's my honest answer. I seen it. I chose not to read it because I am not interested in the excuses. I'm not interested in all the justifications. See you later, mate. Right, we're moving on. Brilliant. Distant history for me. And that's the way I stand. I said that last night. I said, if I never see another story, never see another picture of him in my life, I'll be better for it.
Well said, mate. Yeah. Holly, same question to you. I mean, Mike Ashley, I mean, it's almost forgotten, isn't he? I mean, that picture on the back of the Chronicle, it says it all. It looks like it is the end. But I mean, what's your views on that departure and what he had to say?
I have the same opinion as Liam. I never read it, to be honest. I've read so much rubbish from Mike Ashley over the years. I just felt like it wasn't necessary. It was a horrendous 14 years. I think everyone can agree on that. But now we don't have to worry about that anymore because we've got new owners in, which are hopefully going to take us towards great things. And I think that's what we need to focus on now and just enjoy things rather than thinking of the past and making ourselves depressed again, thinking of what we've been through, focus on what we are about to go through, which should be great times.
Mitch, finishing off on the bottom line. David Vetch says, correct, Ashley is now a non-person. The other one that tickled us there was Mike Ashley's final words should be, bloody hell, a bus. But yeah, that hit you about as quickly as the bus. Yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on Mike Ashley's final statement, Mitch?
Well, again, I've not really paid much attention to it. There is a big irony, that he's left with so much to play with under FFP. The new owners can have a little bit of a field day. Ironically, if FFP had been applied properly, and then we had the COVID pandemic, and there hadn't been some of the bending of the ways to make allowances for certain clubs who were already, spent to the hilt, would have emerged very strong out of all of that. And it's the only thing he's got right over the whole time. But as we've said before, being balance sheet champions means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. And it's just a reaffirmation of being the balance sheet champions and naught else. And so, the past is now the past, and we're going in one direction, and it's away from him. Somebody's finally taken over the tiller of the ghost ship, and that's what he leaves behind. And I don't care about what he wants to, he almost makes himself sound altruistic about refusing a bigger deal. If one word on that, bullshit.
We'll come to Alf Garnett now in the top right. Alf, Joe, what's your take on Mike Ashley's final thing? I've had to go out and get the Chronicles, so you haven't read it yet, but I'm sure you.
I was going to say, my paperboy hasn't been yet, so I haven't got a clue.
I used to do the Dunstan Tower.
I'm not going to disagree. It was just lovely to have a decent journalist on the show for half an hour there, Steve. Brilliant. I think, to be honest, the one thing I will say about him, and I know I'll be in the absolute minority here, is I'd shake his hand and say thanks for sticking with the consortium and thanks for doing what you said you were going to do. Because I guess he didn't have to, if he was to be believed yesterday that he had another offer for more money and whatever that patter was. But he sold it to Amanda, and that's what we wanted. So he's all right in my eyes. And you can get some cracking socks and the best snooker gear in Newcastle, I've heard. So, yeah, Mike Ashley all day long for me.
Steve, you've suffered like the rest of us. Mike Ashley was always going to have the last word, wasn't he? He was always going to. He was never going to say, sorry. He's not that kind of person. He's always got to get a sly dig in some way, shape, or form, because it's all about him.
Yeah, of course. And from a man who has said absolutely nothing or virtually nothing for the last 14 years to come out on his last day and say what he did, and to try and take some of the accolades. What I would say is that we've got to say a huge thanks to Mike Ashley, because if nothing else, he's shown the new consortium who's taken over our football club how not to run a football club. And if we can't learn from that, then they're going to be on an absolute hiding to nothing, aren't they? Because they've got no problems, because Mike has shown exactly how not to run a football club. Yeah,
Keith, you were dealing with the selling side, whilst I was dealing with the buying side. And you've had conversations, not with Mike, of course, but with Justin Barnes for many, many months now. Did that come as a surprise to you to hear the tone of his farewell speech?
For the last 48 hours, I haven't read barely anything on Twitter or on in the press. I've been just taking it all in and winding down and sighing a huge relief. But if I met Mike Ashley, I'd tell him to thank Justin Barnes for the way he's treated me. He's tough, he's hard, he's one of the hardest people I've ever dealt with. He's not a mug. I believed him, I did trust him, and he was good with his word. You know what I mean? He's good with his word. He rang us before it went through. He told us before it went through, when it was going through, and he was bang on. And everything it has been difficult. He actually told us in July when the arbitration case fell down. He told us then that I had to give him a few weeks to get this through. He said how long he wanted. He told the consortium the same thing. And the only risk he had and I had and we had was that he told us that Mike Ashley could, if he thought things weren't going to happen, he thought it wasn't going to happen, he could take another bid. And there were the bidders there. And they were entertaining the people just in case it collapsed. If it had collapsed, they took another offer from the table. So unlike other people, I'm a bit older and I just look at things and just think, I maybe think things a bit calmer, and I just think I would thank Mike Ashley for saying thanks for keeping your word on this deal. You could have took probably more money off the table, was the story that Justin told us, and I believe what he said. He said he could have took more money off the table. Well, that's right or wrong, but I would have thanked them for sticking with the consortium, because my fear was that Amanda Staveley and Murdard and Jamie Rubin were flogging hard for 4 years, and certainly for 18 months, have been to hell and back, worse than any of us fans have. And there must have times they just wanted to give up. And I think they've had a horrendous journey. But Mike actually stuck with them, and Justin said, "This is the deal we want to do." And he said, "Give us a few weeks to do the deal." And I just thought, well, what if Piff's gone? And he said, "Yeah, they might go." But Justin told us that he was talking to PIF at least once a week. And I just thought, well, they are still there, otherwise he wouldn't be talking to them. I know he's talking about other business as well. But I would say to Mike, actually, Justin Van said this week, we've made mistakes. We said we have made mistakes, but now's the right time to go into the right deal. And he told us about what they expect from the deal and what these people would bring. And I'm just pleased that they stuck with it. I'm pleased that we've got this.
We've got another guest to bring in. It's an hour in, and we've already had a cracking show. This guy needs no introduction. A big welcome to Al Walid.
Hi, the
Al Walid, great to see you, mate. And you have again been somebody who has been a constant guest on NUFC Matters platform. I've been on your show, as have many of the NUFC Matters team. We've created a special bond. And it was interesting. You were sharing the flyers from our very first shows together when we first were introduced, and great to see those. It seems like many years ago, but how are you feeling, Al Walid, after yesterday's developments?
Well, it's very hard to speak, but I will try to speak from the heart. It's the easy thing. I found the photo we talk about that my confession when I said I take a picture of Dr. Neil Mitchell and Steve Hasty and put our face, me and Mr. L, to get your attention at the beginning of the show. I found it on Instagram. I posted on Instagram, but I forget about it. Congratulations. We fight in this together. It was really hard for us. A lot of people didn't believe us, especially after maybe you can say the collapse of the consortium at the beginning. We suffer a lot. Also, but we fight all until the end. We believers. We believe this could go through. Everyone do his part. I know, Steve, you didn't like that, but I have to. I really thank you. I appreciate what you do for me, and for me personally. And of course, I would like to thank you all Newcastle City. Helped me with my account in one day. They make me a new account after the Premier League. They suspended my first one. Also, special thanks to Keith Patterson, he's really God in him. He saved the deal. Many thoughts. I just still thinking last year when we're pushing the Parliament and we are trying to vote to make a case there, but we did a lot of talking, and this is see, I'm lost in talking. I don't know where to start. Actually, it's very hard, but really, I'm happy. 2 years. We have what it's belonged to us after all.
How's it gone with how do other people in Saudi feel about this? I've seemed to have acquired an extra 300 Twitter followers from Saudi Arabia, which I think is something to do with you. After you did a radio interview, again, I needed a translator for that because all I could hear was Mr. Steve Wraith and Keith Patterson. I think you must have gone on a radio show, but it's how are other people feeling, and is there going to be a big influx of Newcastle supporters from Saudi?
Okay, many aspects or many ways to talk about this, but since the PIF, when they pulled at beginning of the last year, mostly, I said this also in your show, Steve, most or big percentage of the fans normally they believe it's over, but actually maybe I was the only one who I still believe it's not over. I have many reasons for this. One of them, I've been told that PIF never failed any deal. All their deals success. So this is one of the reasons who make me believe Also, I found the support from you. You still believe as well. So the minute, it was funny story. Wednesday, rarely I forget my charger in work. I returned, by the way, I returned to work after my sick leave last week. I forget my charger, but I still have 2 hours in duty. So I said, okay, 2 hours, it's okay, nothing will happen, because all my usage for phone is just for update for Twitter. I said, I have charger in the car. So when I left, I found the BN news. I said, okay, great, this is good step. And after this, Craig Hope said, maybe there is no arbitration, and things go crazy. I didn't sleep, maybe 2 days, full day, 2 days. I didn't sleep, maybe just 2 hours. I couldn't believe. We just waited in January, and it's happening now. Everybody was in shock. Nobody say it. But the most funny thing is now all Saudi Arabia, all Twitter accounts in Saudi Arabia, they're starting to do Newcastle accounts. But the funny thing that, because I try to be active, and sorry to maybe tag you a lot, maybe I apologize for this, but because my account suspended, the first one, all my videos not appear, so I have to do all the material I've been doing in my YouTube channel to put it again in Twitter in the new account. So when everybody now in Saudi talking about Newcastle, even if he's not a football fan, because it's now over, it's finished. It's been owned already. Everything is finished. So I think when I just been asked to come to a show, broadcast, radio and stuff. So I'm happy for this, because they find nobody have record for Newcastle and what's going on in these 2 years, maybe except me, because I continue and I didn't quit. And all the thanks for you guys.
Great stuff, Al-Walid. Great to hear from you tonight. And it is remarkable to think of the journey that we have been on together. And
sorry, Steve. I just want to say, ambassador of Great Britain just congrats me and make a tweet for this takeover.
Wow.
Mr. Neil, His Excellency Neil Corrington.
That's fantastic, that Al-Walid, to hear. And I guess the last question I'm going to ask you before I let you go tonight, mate, is when are you coming to Newcastle?
Very soon.
Can I ask you one?
Go on, Keith.
Al-Walid, I was going to say to you, this was nearly the first show you ever did in the last month where you never mentioned transsexuals.
Okay, I'm hoping Saudi will watch, but I will cut this from my video.
Can I just say to everybody out there who doesn't understand why Keith mentioned that, on a show that Al-Walid presents, LGBT Newcastle, he unfortunately, due to a translation issue, mentioned the word transsexual instead of transition. I think that was the word.
Transactional.
Unfortunately for Al-Walid, Keith Patterson has got a long memory. He won't let him forget this. So I apologise for that, Al-Walid, on a night of celebration that you've had to be once again humiliated by the Sheikh Keith Patterson.
The other thing, he promised us, when I went to get a headdress, I got off the red and white one or the black and white one. It was obvious I was going to pick Al-Walid. And you kindly said that when you come over, you're going to bring me my white Saudi one, and you've got us a white one. Right?
Yeah, actually, it's the white and the red. Actually, to be honest, this is for Palestinian.
I know this.
Palestinian one.
White, but it's black and white, so it was an easy choice. But I want to get the white one you're going to send us. So you're going to get us one of them, aren't you?
Don't worry about that, sir.
Okay, so when you come over, Al-Walid, you can stay at our place. You come to ours, and I'll put you up while you're here. You can stay with me, and I'll drive you around in the back.
That is the rumor, Al-Walid. Keith has always wanted to sleep with a transsexual. And I'm not. We'll say good night to you, Al-Walid.
Shukran.
Fantastic to have Al-Walid on. Fantastic, great stuff. And great crack. Chris Hall, obviously one of our regulars and one of the loaded lads, says evening lads and lasses, or evening lads and lass. I was thinking Al-Walid was still on there, still working. So we'll catch up later. Just wanted to say how are the lads? Thank you to each and every one of you. Love you all. See you soon. Joe hugs my mate. So that's Chris Hall. Good to have him on. And it was nice to speak. Once I'd managed to get over me, me stress and almost having a breakdown yesterday. It was nice to speak to and get messages from so many people. And Loaded was kind enough to allow us on their show. They did say 5 minutes. I think I managed an hour and a half last night. Talk the eyes up a donkey, but it was a great night to be on there. But give the lads at Loaded the subscription. They're on their way now to 1,000 subscribers, and that's great. I'm going to give the sponsors a shout out tonight. Over 1,400 been watching tonight so far. Big thank you to Spider VPN, Google Spider VPN. They come up at the top of your Google search list for all the internet security. Google Spider VPN. They are the boys to trust. Skipsandbins.com, who will hopefully get the job of loading in the Sports Direct signs in the next few weeks. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy contract, free and pay as you go. Waste collection. L&G Family Funeral Directors as well. Thank you for your sponsorship. 0191 389 7245. And to john@qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and a Jab Signature for producing all our flyers. If you are a first-time visitor to the channel, do what 600 people have done this week and subscribe to the channel by hitting the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner. And that's it. You can subscribe for free. All our content is free. And you can hit the thumb up to like the video tonight. Click share it to your social media. Drop into the comment box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We'll not have much chance of posing questions tonight because we're all too jolly. And we're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and your podcast providers. Quick shout out about some events where you can come and meet some of us and, of course, meet some ex-players. And even with Gavin Peacock, 29th of October at the Irish Centre. Tickets are £15. Gavin is doing his official Northeast book launch that night as well, so you can buy copies of his book. Also, NUFC Matters Christmas night takes place on November the 19th at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets for that are £12, and all proceeds go to the food bank. And then we have an evening with Peter Beardsley on the 26th of November at the Irish Centre as well. Tickets for all three events available from newcastlelegends.com. Just click shop and you can buy your tickets tonight. A couple of other events coming up. An evening with Rob Lee, 28th of October. You get your tickets from www.laurelswhitley.co.uk. And another one for the food bank at bobix.com. You can buy your tickets for an evening with myself and Supermac. Again, all proceeds going to the food bank. Don't forget, NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk. The matchday bucket is still operational. You can donate virtually to that during the international break, and that will enter you into the prize draw for the consortium watch, which of course will be drawn when we get the pool competition up and running when John is back on his feet. And don't forget as well, we do have NUFCmatters.com where you can get an arrangement of cups, saucers, shirts, t-shirts, whatever you want. But NUFCmatters.com, have a quick look on there and you will be able to buy stuff on there. And just a quick shout out to Peter Beardsley. I know he watches the show on a regular basis. He has still got a few spaces left for his soccer school, Monday the 25th to Friday the 29th of October, 10 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and it is at Kingston Park in Newcastle. Please email pbsoccerschools@hotmail.com. That's pbsoccerschools@hotmail.com if you want the band to be taught by a former Newcastle and England legend. Well worth a look. I am going to get a plug in for the book as well. Every Boy's Dream. If you're looking for a Christmas idea, read about 37 years of misery following Newcastle, although you've probably got your own experiences. But there are some customary mentions from my pals Neil and Steve Hasty in there. And I am doing a book for the food bank as well. The Ghost That Could Not Scare. Halloween is on the way. Again, this is all available from newcastlelegends.com. The book that was illustrated by BBC Radio Newcastle's Alfie Joey. I wrote the story, and we are donating £2 per sale to the food bank. So we've already sold a few of them this week. So please get onto the website and order them. Last chance to bid on the I've seen both of Jeff Hendricks's goals, obviously referring to the 2 goals he scored this season. Food bank t-shirt. Bid for that by just going on to @SteveWraith. It is a pinned tweet, and you can bid on that. And all proceeds again go to the food bank. Next week's t-shirt, which will go live on Monday, is this one, the J7 t-shirt. Again, just our little homage to Joe Linton. So get yourself onto my Twitter, make a bid. As I say, all proceeds are going to the food bank. Okay, we've got 2 minutes to bring this guest in. Now, this is somebody who has been quite prolific in the chat tonight. He would just like to come on and say well done, I guess, to the crew. Welcome to Thomas, who's a regular viewer. How are you, Thomas? Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, Thomas. Go on. What do you want to say?
It's me. Starting working on the iron.
We can hear you, mate. Go for it.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say thank you for all you on the show for helping me through the 18 months. And just everything you're doing, it's brilliant. And Holly, you're doing absolutely brilliant what you've been doing.
Thank
And
you.
it's just amazing how everybody just can go to gala, and that's it really. And I just want to come in here and just say thank you for everyone you on the show, because you have helped me absolutely a ton especially through the lockdown.
Thomas, I know. I mean, I bumped into your dad personally. He had a chat with him probably must be about 6 or 7 months ago now. But I knew you were watching the show. Obviously, we're friends on Facebook. We have a chat backwards and forwards on Facebook, and I always try to reply to even when I'm busy. And it's nice to know that the platform that was set up months and months ago during lockdown when nobody could go out, that it's helped. It's helped so many people, and I've had so many messages. I can't reply to them all, and but with you, Thomas, it's been nice, and I saw you asking there. We've had a packed show tonight, but it means a lot, and I'm glad we've helped you, and I know that gives everybody a buzz in the chat. I mean, anybody else want to say something to Thomas? Go on, Keith. I see you're nodding, and you're clearly affected by it. So
it's just great you come on, and it's nice for people, because at the end of the day, we all just fans. People are either we all just football fans. We all just support Newcastle. There's none of us or anything else. Only Liam. It's that's a journalist, and us, the rest of us, are just football fans. And for you to come on, you can see you speak from your heart, and if it's helped you, it just goes a little way to say what a great thing this NUFC Matters family program and platform is. Because the other thing, Thomas, you might not realise, but it's helped us. It's helped me through the work and the abuse I've took. It's Steve Hasty got some vile things said about him, and we carried him with us. And now he's back as strong as an ox. But like sometimes just listen to people like Mitch show you how to learn Tourette's. It helps you get through these challenges, because Mitch just has an uncanny way of just saying it as it is. And Mitch hardens us up when we get a bit weak. But for what you've done, Thomas, to come on, you've just epitomised so many people that I've had messages of. I've had loads of DMs of people that suffered from things and suffered through lockdown. And for you to come and do that, you're speaking for a lot of fans, mate. And it's lovely to hear. It's just great. You're just like us. And when this all happens, mate, we've all just got one set of eyes, and we're all going to get the same out as this as you are. Every one of us who's worked on this are going to get the same view as you are. We're just going to get a view at what this consortium are going to deliver. So enjoy the journey, mate. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah. Huge thanks, Thomas. It means an awful lot to hear from fans like you, supporters who are exactly the same as us. We've had the advantage of being on this platform and being able to say what we've known. But to hear thanks from you means a hell of a lot. I don't think you probably realise what it means to me, but it really does. So huge thanks, much appreciated, mate. And keep supporting the town, because good things are coming, kidder.
Great stuff.
Yeah, great stuff.
I want to say something.
Go on,
Amanda and Mia, Dad. I just want to say thank you so much for buying our club. And
Exactly.
it just
Well
made it's just like only thing what I want for Christmas is I already got one, and that's them taking over the club. Now, another thing, only thing else what I want for Christmas now is a PlayStation 5 if I can get it. So
good luck
that's
with
the
that.
only thing I want. I already got one then, so
good
that's
stuff.
All use what you done, every one of you.
Brilliant.
Thomas, thank you so much, mate. And don't forget, I've said it to you before, get yourself on the 5-minute rant. I think you'd be great on there.
Amanda and Mia, Dad, and all the PIF and everybody. But again, all you are absolutely amazing. What you have been doing and helping me and all the rest of the people with like mental health problems. And like me, I got OCD, and it just absolutely rocketed out the roof. But all you have kept me like on the straight and narrow through all this real bad like lockdown and that. But again, so absolutely thank you so much, all you. You're just amazing.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
We've had some faces on here tonight, but that really is, and the chat's gone wild. People thanking you as well. So thank you, Thomas. Take care. Get yourself on the 5-minute rant with the lads. When well, we're going to have to call it the 5-minute loving, I think now, because of the fact that Mike's gone. But take care. Have a good weekend, Thomas. Pass on the best to your dad. Take care, son.
See you, bye.
Cheers, Thomas.
On, and that is great. And I think the other thing that we've learned through this whole takeover process is that it is good to get on with other podcasts, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, we've been often called a cult, and the man who called us a cult is here now, Paul from Toon Review. How are you, Paul?
I'm all right. How are you guys doing?
Paul, honestly, great to see you, mate.
Yeah, you too.
Look, forget about the past. That was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
How are you feeling, mate, after yesterday's news?
It's surreal, to be honest. I mean, I went up the stadium today, and I know there wasn't as many people there as there normally, yesterday, but just, the few people that were there, the atmosphere around the grounds changed, just people are smiling, not trying to kill each other, and it's just amazing, people sitting having a drink. Amanda's PA came down to the 9 bar and started shaking everybody's hand. There was people dressed as Arabs giving fake £50 notes to everybody. And taxi drivers stopping and taking pictures of everybody, and then Keith Downey walked past, got interviewed by him and a photo with him, and it was just all surreal. It just, everybody's just so happy, and it just seemed like a real chilled, different atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an amazing journey, and I mean, we've enjoyed it to a degree. At times we haven't. It's been mad, but I mean, what's it been like for you covering it? I mean, we've got completely different podcasts, but yours is great. I enjoy watching yours. I stumbled across yours through lockdown, like I stumbled across a few, and yours is yours has been enjoyable. We've I jumped onto yours. That's why I've invited you on tonight. But what's it been like for you covering this? I mean, it's been a roller coaster, hasn't it?
Well, I did a fans forum on Tuesday night, and I think the people that came on were just so down. We'd been to Wolves at the weekend, and I came back from Wolves, drenched, unhappy, as well as the M6 toll, but we'll not go into that. The whole thing was just downbeat, and then within 48 hours, we've got new owners, and it was just crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, I did sort of a live stream celebration over the last 2 nights and got sort of record viewers on there, just people from all over the world, and people from Saudi coming on and saying well done and all of this. It's just been absolutely crazy, but it's been great because, like I say, today there was people just hugging each other and smiling and chatting with each other, and it's been so nice to go. There's a guy I interviewed today. He'd come over from Holland last night on the boat. Just to, he used to live in Newcastle a while back. He used to work here, but he's back in Holland now. And he got on the boat to come over until Sunday just to soak up the atmosphere. So, he was having a drink with us, and then 3 Scottish lads they interviewed in 9 bar who'd come down from way up in the Highlands. They got the train down last night just to be part of the celebrations. I mean, they were rough as hell today, but they were still having a drink to top themselves off before they went back home. So incredible, really, just fantastic. It's amazing how something like this brings so many people together.
What did you make of Amanda's first interview? I mean, I guess Holly's interview was great, but there was a one after that. What did you make of the first statements of intent from Amanda?
Well, I thought it was lovely that the first pictures we saw was obviously Amanda giving Holly a hug, and she deserves that massively. And I was so proud of Holly and for all she's done. So it was absolutely amazing. And then to hear her talk about husband, I think, said something earlier on about slow and steady, and we'll get there eventually, which I think is important, because I think Newcastle fans need to realise it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to take a massive rebuild. But the fact that she was talking about winning things and an ambition and, going for trophies, I mean, we've never heard that for 15 years. All we've heard about is ticking along and, surviving in 17th or 16th, whatever it may be. But now we've gone from that in like the space of 48 hours to, looking forward to winning the league, which it's a pipe dream. It really is. But I was just so impressed with what she had to say, and the fact that she's going to keep the fans posted as to what the plans are and everything like that as well. So it's something we're not used to from Newcastle United under Ashley, are we? The club coming out and telling us where we're going to move forward and how we're going to do it. It's incredible.
Yeah. Communication's the key, Paul. That's 100%, and to hear that that's going to be something that they're going to maintain is fantastic. They did the press yesterday, but then they were back at St James's Park meeting the staff, doing a little bit more media. They're away back to London now to have a deserved break this weekend, and then they'll be back at it on Monday. I'm going to ask you a football question, Steve Bruce, and I'm going to go around the panel. But Steve Bruce, is that done and dusted now? Do you think that's Do you think that's the end of his time at Newcastle? Do you think game number 1,000 is going to have to be somewhere else?
Yeah, well, it'll be if anybody takes him on the one shooting. To be honest, I mean, the way Amanda's been talking, it's blatantly obvious that he's not the man that they want to take Newcastle forward, even in the short term. Just get the impression that something is going to happen sooner rather than later, and give whoever comes in a bit of time before the Spurs game. I've been, ever since the takeover went through, I've been thinking that, these guys will not want somebody like Steve Bruce to run their football team. He just hasn't got that charismatic energy that certain managers across the world have. And when we can now shop in Harrods for a manager instead of Pound Stretcher. It's that type of thing. So not for me. I think he's gone, really. I think he already knows it anyway.
Yeah, no, me too. Paul, I will get you back on for a longer show. You did me.
That's fine.
You did me the honour of getting me on your podcast, and I really appreciated that. Give us a quick plug as to where people can find your channel.
Just at it's at the Toon Review on Twitter, and obviously on YouTube as well. And just before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you to you, Steve. Well, both you, Steves, Mitch, Holly, and Keith, for all the support over the last couple of weeks when I had that horrible trolling going on. You guys have stood up and really, I've been amazed. And everything you've done with regards to the takeover, keeping everybody informed. You've took a hell of a lot of abuse yourselves, to be honest. And you should be really proud of yourselves for what you've done, and including you, Holly, for someone so young, for what you've done is frankly incredible. So you should be proud as punch of yourself, and all of you have just been incredible. So he's a real inspiration to a lot of fans, and me included. So thank you for everything you've done.
Top man, Paul. Great to have you on. Thanks for taking 5 minutes out of your night to do
Cheers,
that.
Paul.
Look at your podcast.
No worries.
See you soon, mate. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Take care, mate.
Great to have Paul on, and check out Toon Review. Well worth a watch. Okay, Holly, I'll come to you on that question about Steve Bruce. It looks as if his time's up, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't expect Steve Bruce to be in the dugout for the Spurs game, to be honest. I think he should be a priority to get rid of him, because Steve Bruce is part of the negative regime that we had in the past. It's someone that'll keep us stuck. He's currently got us 19th in the league, and he can't take us any further. You could argue his first 2 seasons were okay. We finished 13th and then 12th. He was actually backed financially quite well, despite the last window, I think, for Mike Ashley standards anyway. But yeah, he really can't take us any further now, and we need to bring someone in far, far better.
Yeah, I agree. Liam, same question to you. Steve Bruce, end of the tenure, do you think?
Yes, please.
You're the complete polar opposite to Ben Jacobs. Ben would have took 2 hours to answer that question. You, yes, please. Next.
It's so much better-headed.
No, I think the points everybody's making are exactly right. A limited top-end championship manager, really brought in. Paid money for him, incredible. But brought in, his limitations are there for everybody to see. Doesn't have the organisational skills of even average Premier League managers.
It's 19 hours.
Is it?
Is it?
What was that?
I don't know.
That wasn't me, so I've got not guilty on that. Who was that? Oh, we somebody knows.
That's the MacBook.
That's a MacBook. All right.
Not me.
So
mine would go off in Arabic.
I think that was the MacBook telling me how long Steve Bruce has got left.
All right, 19 hours. Well, that's good.
I think that was the counter of Ben's first speech.
No, that was the counter to your first speech to Ben when we got him on. Remember that opening gambit was 19 minutes long.
Jesus Christ.
Spat him out.
Look, I'm not going to ask everybody the same question because I think we know the answer, and we've only got half an hour. I know we're going to.
There is a point I'd like to make on it. And I'll tie in with something else as well that I really want to get across tonight. We know that Eddie Howe has been in for talks. The thing we don't know is, was that Ashley and Penfold's plan B if everything didn't go through, or is that on behalf of prospective new owners? And how we know is Wasserman Sports came in, the same guy that made his mouth go in the club, that he was there to talk about Chowdhury. He's the same company that looks after Howe, and he told everybody in the club why he was there and who he'd brought with him. And the plane spotters picked up on the plane. And while I'm talking about planes, that flight manifest that was released on Twitter through the week didn't come from anybody at the Newcastle airport at all.
Correct.
On the private side at Newcastle, as tight as you like, we kind of getting out of them, let alone bloody leaking stuff on Twitter. And frankly, and there's people there who could try and twist the arm of, and they just tell them to bugger off. And so there's no way that came from Newcastle Airport. I want everybody to know that the private side of Newcastle Airport is tight as a drum when it comes to security. So we're going to have a number of people coming in and out of Newcastle Airport over the next few years, no doubt. And they shouldn't have any doubts about their privacy being priority at Newcastle Airport. I believe that leak came from Oxford. But either way, when I ran it past somebody, they were like, where the hell did you get this from? Because somebody's in a big load of shit with this. And I believe they are. And it's nobody at Newcastle, that's for sure.
Stu doesn't want Eddie Howe. He says they should be looking at world-class appointments. And this is what I was saying at the start of the programme about
temper it down right now. Our priority right now is not to get relegated. And then everything else can happen organically.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Okay, I'm going to bring in another guest tonight, another friend of the show. Good evening to Pete, who runs the 5-minute rant for us on a Monday. How are you, mate?
Not too bad. How are you all?
Very good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, mate. I'm sober. I'm just starting my first drink now tonight, so I'm going to have a good weekend, but I'm okay. How are you? Did you enjoy it? I mean, obviously, you weren't outside St James's last night. I wasn't either, of course. You were watching it from afar. How did it go for you?
Very emotional. It's been a tough 48 hours for me. Obviously, I don't live in Newcastle, but I still feel it the same way as you all do. 30 years supporting the club up and down the country, Europe and back. It doesn't quite seem real, even now. I'm on Twitter today and I'm looking at the statements, the club coming out talking to the staff today, and it's like we've not known this for 15 years. We've not known this for God knows how long. Like, we've never known this. And it's just amazing to see how open they are with us already as a fan base, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see. I think Mitch has touched on it really, really well there just before I came on when we talk about managers, and there are the Contes and various other managers that have been thrown out there. We do need to temper it down, and one of the things that I've been saying is that us as a fan base now, we need to remember these 14 years. For whatever happens next, we have to remember these 14 years. If we do, and we are lucky enough to be challenging for titles and trophies and cups and whatever that may come, if we don't get there straight away, or we have a moment where it doesn't go right, we have to remember where we've come from. We have to remember this dark era, because it is a dark era. I've said it for a while now. this will be sort of like a black mark on our history with him owning this club. And we have to remember where we've come from to really appreciate where we're hopefully going. So that's kind of one of the things that I'm thinking about at the moment, but you can't help but be excited. You know, we've got owners that are really in there, and it's a great feeling.
Yeah, no, it is. There's no doubt about that. It's you know, the city's alight, everybody's delighted. And from our perspective, you know, it can only be the beginning of new things. Just a quick one on Mike Ashley. You know, we're glad to see the back of him. He did have a little swipe, didn't he, at the club? What was your take on that?
Exactly the same as Liam. I couldn't care less. I know I mentioned it when it came out last night, when it had been mentioned on social media, but I actually don't care. And if I don't, you know, see anything Mike Ashley related going forward now, it wouldn't bother me. Like as soon as that deal went through, and as soon as it was confirmed that we had new owners, as far as I'm concerned, the name Mike Ashley means nothing to me now. It means absolutely nothing to me. And I think us as a fan base, it should mean nothing to us. Okay, he's caused us so much hurt, so much frustration, so much anger over these 14 years. You know, we need to move away from him. We just have to, and we need to look forward to the positives now that are fingers crossed going to come our way.
Yeah. Okay. Let's lighten things up a little bit with one of our favourite segments on a Friday night, and I don't really think it needs any introduction. He's off already.
He's already. He's away.
Yeah,
yes, Toon Takeover, which everybody seems to love, and God, we've been inundated amongst all the stuff that I've had, and I hope I haven't missed any classics, but I have to whiz through them because there's so many. And
this is where Patterson gives himself a hernia, isn't it?
That's why I took my headdress off, because I'm going to look like Bruce Willis again. So I've got to
all right, okay. Well, to be honest, John from QTech started the ball rolling with this one. He went all Lego on us at the start of the week with Mickey Quinn, and he's obviously been going through his old Lego collection, which then got him to do this one. Obviously a good friend of mine, and a piece of Lego, which we thought was quite good. Then it pushed him to do this. Steve Wraith, Mitch, Steve Hasty, yours is brilliant.
Oh, calm down, Gandalf. Yeah.
And there's Keith Patterson in the bottom. Thank you, John, for that. And then John couldn't help but have a dig at Steve as well, explaining Bruce Ball, Toon Takeover. Hopefully not for much longer. As always, sometimes I end up losing who's actually sent what, because there's that many get sent in. I thought this was pretty good. Very, very, very lifelike.
Adam Lewis.
Yeah,
that's QC, isn't it? The Premier League's QC. Yeah.
Somebody sent this one in anonymously of Keith Patterson.
I think it came from Ferry Hill.
I think it did come from Ferry Hill, yeah. This one I had to edit slightly just to get it up. Steve Wraith, what's happening here? Says Chris. Pretty good.
That's good.
Polo team.
Yeah, pretty good that. So well done you. We got this one in from Tom Lynch. He went, thoughts on the new Bond film, lads. I had to edit that one down as well to that, but yeah, pretty good. Now have to go.
No time to go.
Time to go. Yeah. So let's hope so. After what's happened this week, Tom. Okay, this one from Yano, who's a regular viewer. Moloch from Abe's World Game, and Mitch. Mitch never looks very happy when these come on, does he? He's always just silent. Then we've then got Keith Patterson from
you know me, pal.
I recognise that one. Definitely.
Yeah, that's good. Steve Hasty loves this. This distinct
now.
He is enjoying it. Yeah. This one from our Albert's on. Those trolls who call Steve a wanker, I can't imagine why they would say that. That is good. Then we've got this one. This is from Andrew on Instagram. He says, Keith lookalikey. What do you think of that?
That's shocking, mate.
Okay. This one from Mickey Barlow.
That can't be me.
No, lookalikey Wilder and James bottom to third from Family
Guy.
Guy.
On Sunday morning, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. This one's quite good. Mr. Humphreys. John Ingram and Claudio Ranieri.
That is good, that one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it is. It would have been a winner probably under normal circumstances, but I think most of you can see where this is going because we've had a distinct lack of Steve Hasty lookalikes so far. This one, Formula One champion James Hunt and Super Mac, which I think is really good. Thank you for that, JP. Coming into the back straight now. The last of the summer wine. Now this is a spot the difference. Can you see yourself, Steve?
No. Take respect off. Take respect off.
You couldn't have put it back up there.
Oh, here we go. Right, no. Aye.
Could make a future post of that if it had been the three of me. Would have been a good post of that. This one. Graham Coleman says, "Hi Steve, have you appeared in Garden Rescue lately?" That's me at the bottom.
Just anyone with a goatee now, isn't it?
Anyone with a goatee. I mean, I've got the full beard now. Getting ready for next week. Alan McKenzie says, "Well, Bezos is sending Kirk into space. If he needs Spock, please take this fella and jettison him onto the dark side." I took that because I thought that was quite a good look-alike between Captain Kirk and Steve Bruce. They do look fairly similar.
Yeah, I can see the resemblance.
Yeah, that was a good one. I did post it.
30 years older than him.
Yeah. He did go into space and boldly go where everybody's now been before him. But this one, I did post. Obviously, I was out filming a new feature film this week, and I did post a photograph up. There was a few hilarious tweets posted about it, but this one was good. Wayne Bennett, lookalike for Friday's show if you get time for the future. Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, you set yourself up there, Steve, didn't you?
I did, thank you. To be honest, there was one person, it didn't make tweet of the week, but somebody said, I spent the last 20 minutes looking at this photo and didn't realise Steve Wraith was in it, which I thought was quite cool. Mark Costello says, "Keith, what are you doing in this? Some fella named Kevin McCormick in Care a Lot." That's not Keith.
Another top actor for me, like, you know what I mean?
Dear me, how?
Movie star.
Looks more like Joe. This was brilliant from DW, Davy Wild. Rafa moonlighting as the security guard in Shaun the Sheep movie.
That's good, that one. That is good.
It is really good, that one as well. This one was, we had a few obscure ones this week. Lookalike Pete Doherty and the late, great Eric Bristow.
I can see that.
Yeah, he does look a bit like Eric Bristow in that one. He's put a bit of weight on, hasn't he? He's put a bit of timber on over the lockdown. This is brilliant, this one. Lookalike contender, Tyrone from Coronation Street doing it St. James's.
That's a good one.
Pretty good. That's it was good. I can see that one. This one from Dr. Squat Pump. He says, "Looks like Mitch is returning to Doctor Who, although I didn't realise he'd been in it before." That's Russell T Davies.
Russell T Davies, sorry.
Yeah, the writer.
Martin, we'll send our best to Martin. He had a bad time a couple of weeks ago, but he's back on form now. And this was brilliant. This isn't a lookalike. This is just he's drawn, and I think that was fantastic, Martin. Well done.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, that guy's got some talent, and he has. He's got amazing talent. He needs to keep going at it. Really, really good, Martin.
Yeah, well done, Martin. We're always here if you need us. This one should have made last week. It's not the clearest image, but I did post a photo when I was doing a talk with Frank Bruno, and Dan at the bottom said, "Steve, have you been having some of Wonka's dodgy chewing gum?" Yeah, the lighting wasn't the greatest at the Gosforth Park, I've got to be perfectly honest, but thank you for that. This one, of course, Albert goes into his own world and forgets it's about lookalikes and then just sends this. Keith's pulled up and seen the queue at the petrol station, and then he's just superimposed Keith's face on the petrol dial. Thanks for that, Albert. I know you've got better. I know you've got better coming up though. Okay, here we go. Tom Dixon.
Hey.
It's just a dodgy haircut, that's all it is.
Does Tom not have a colour telly or something?
Okay, Albert then returns with this. Albert, I really don't know what you're going to come up with next week because you'll have probably been on the drink for 3 years. Stephen, keep waiting in the queue for petrol.
It's like 2 members of ZZ Top.
Steve, do you see you the one?
I look like Snowy White out of bloody Thin Lizzy. You look like you're out of ZZ Top.
This has got to be one of my favourite hasty ones for a while.
Yeah,
this one's from Peter Campbell. He says, imagine my surprise when Steve Hasty was sat in front of me in the Leeds game.
Where did you get that hat? Where did you get that?
Okay, we're into the final straight.
Holly, what you look like? Hey, get her off.
We've got 4 to go. This came in at number. This was at number 4 from Jimmy. He says, look alike. Toon Tipster's an Everton fan and apparently from the USA. He says, sorry, Joe.
Sorry, Joe.
Joe 90.
Yeah. Okay. This was from. I think it was from Rachel or no, Karen. Karen Choke. You've got that right, Pet.
I knew it. No, like it, like not even.
Nothing wrong with Karen's eyesight. Nothing wrong with Karen's eyesight. Number 2, then. This comes in at number 2. This is from Ian Hall. Joe and Postman Pat.
At least your cat's black and white.
Black and white cat, son.
Yeah, and the winner by a country mile, it has to be said this week, is this one. This is from Bod.
Brilliant.
Savalas and Bod Baker and Telly Savalas in his sidekick. I
call him Stavros.
Stavros, yeah.
He thought I was on about Stavros Flatley. I says, no, son. I says, you're the big fat enough Kojak. Well, I haven't seen him. I says, go on Google. He did it in the car and I did the picture.
Fantastic. Keep them coming in. Send them to me at Steve Wraith on Twitter. As always, love to get them. And wonderful to see as many this week. And we always like a good laugh. Okay, Toon Tipster.
By the way, you'll be next. Now you're sitting on this panel. Somebody's going to come up with one from you. You can guarantee. Poor lad.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And to be honest, I'd forgot the one that had been sent about Holly, and she was giving us pelters at the Wolves game about it. But we'll not go into that, Holly. I promised I would never mention it again. Okay, Toon Tipster is sitting there, so we'll still give you your music, mate. It's over to you. Toon Tipster, he's under pressure because he's live. He's not doing a pre-record, so go for it, mate.
It's took the shine off my gag as well. I've been sat here. It's warm when you're bald, isn't it, Keith? I'm boiling.
What's Steve is doing? Is he showing us what a hairline is?
I'm just getting me questions for the Toon Tipster, that's all.
So here we go then. Here we go. In a monumental week for our football club, I didn't want to come on here with my usual wisecracking, put downs, have a go at old Keith for his worrying incontinence problems, and act all silly. There was no time for that this week. And it was really nice that I didn't have to do anything daft to get accepted onto the show. It's great when everyone's been mates again. In a week where soon-to-be Newcastle legends showed that persistence and strong business acumen pays off if you're willing to be patient. That's right, Q-Tech. You can finally get them #cans t-shirts out of the garage now. He's been sitting on them for 4 years. I thought he was going to lose it. Anyway, I am, though, I've got to say, in all seriousness, I'm calling on foul play this week. And I'm taking a stance on international injustice that simply cannot be ignored. I'm absolutely certain that Penman planted that takeover story on Wednesday night, just as my dream team was about to go live. I think we finally found our Qatari bot, Steve. Anyway, the show went really well, and our greatest ever player told me personally, and that made my week. It was my birthday yesterday, and I finally got what I've wanted. I got some new socks off our mum and our dad. Absolutely class. No Newcastle game this week, unfortunately. Just another international break. So I'm hoping that Mandy can get her feet up and peruse the French squad, because we need some new ball boys for next season. England play Andorra on Saturday, and to be honest with you, the prices are just not worth mentioning at all. Andorra are 40-1. The draw is 16-1, and England are 1-50. I couldn't really find any value anywhere, to be honest. I did look at the goal scoring markets though, but you've got to go a long way down to make some decent money. I just picked out Declan Rice at 5-1, but if I was you, just leave the England match well alone. In terms of the food bank, Mr. Hasty, no luck last week on me doubler with Joe Linton and ASM letting us down. England, so there's no Harry Maguire. So I've decided that I'm going to put our money on Jesse Lingard. He's just under evens this week. So we'll get just under a tenner back if he can score any time in the game. And in terms of your Toon Tickle, all 11 World Cup qualifiers tonight to have over 1.5 goals. That's 17-1. It is, though, of course, worth mentioning that the odds for the next permanent manager in Newcastle United, now that we're the world's most powerful football club. So Antonio Conte is favourite at 2-1. A guy I'd love to see is Steven Gerrard at 4-1. You can get 5 if you fancy Eddie Howe. Rafa Benitez is 10. Jones's mate, Roberto Martinez, he's 14-1. And Jose, I've got some unfinished business with Newcastle, Mourinho, is 16-1. The only thing I'm looking forward to this weekend is Tyson Fury destroying Deontay Wilder for the third time. Fury is 1-3 odds on favourite. You can get 12-5 to Wilder, and you can actually get 22-1 if you fancy one of them dodgy draws. I seem to think that there's real value in this fight if you go for a Tyson Fury stoppage in the mid to late rounds. Look from round 6 onwards, and you'll win some money. Bet safely, everybody. Sorry for my performance. I'm hungover and still half drunk, and I'm taking this off now because I'm bloody boiling. Bet safely, everyone. Thank you.
Brilliant stuff as always. We're coming into the last 10 minutes of the show, and we've got another guest to bring on, and it's a big welcome to Toon Takeover, who is live in his bar on the drink with a Bulgarian Mags. How are you, Andre? Get your
Hey.
Hey guys, cheers from Bulgaria. Cheers to everyone. Congrats. It's been a fantastic day yesterday. Here's a stat for you. 24 hours without Mike Ashley. And we are having a special party here in Sofia tonight. This is part of the
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
We are celebrating in Sofia. We are very excited, and actually, I think I shared with you via our WhatsApp chat. Like 3 days ago, I bought tickets for the Chelsea game, but without much excitement for the game itself. I just wanted to have a nice weekend in Newcastle, take my girlfriend, show her around, and then suddenly the next day the takeover is on. We have new owners. The future is bright. We are suddenly back to the good old times when you expect something out of the football club. I'm so excited, guys. I'm so happy for all of you. I know that some of you have what I've been through for the past 25 years. Probably Steve Hasty has been for 50 years. And I'm very, very happy, guys. I cannot put it into words, yeah?
Honestly, it's fantastic. And I mean, you know, it's great to see that Newcastle fans, not just in Newcastle, not just in Leicester, not just in Middlesbrough, not just in Saudi or Dubai, South Shields, Durham, Gateshead, even across the world, places such as Bulgaria. It's fantastic to see that we're all united by the same cause, mate, that Mike Ashley's finally gone and that now our new owners have come in. They've given us a bit of hope. And that's all we wanted. And I've noticed there's a lot of fans in the chat tonight of supporting other teams. We've got Manchester United, we've got Everton fans who've been on, Liverpool, all saying good luck, well done. But I think it's just, ordinary football fans, normal football fans know we're not asking for anything other than to have hope and an opportunity to compete, Andre. Yeah, Andre, can you hear us? You're on mute again, mate. That's it.
Guys, I just want to show you, because it's very loud in here and I think the connection will break soon. I want to show you the jersey or the top I'm wearing now. It's the Champions League much worn shirt by Aaron Hughes from 2002, the game against Dynamo Kiev in Kiev. I bought it at an auction like a couple of months ago, and when they asked me like, why did you buy it, I said I bought it because I'm sure that in my lifetime Newcastle will never again play in the Champions League. But 2 months later, suddenly things have changed. I know that we are all happy not for Champions League and not for, glory hunting and the chasing trophies. I know that we are just happy that the club has hope once again, and we can all watch football on Saturday and Sunday with some expectation and some good football and some good vibe. But I think that also Champions League will come soon. Guys, nice seeing you all. Enjoy and talk to you soon. Have a great fun. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care, mate.
You know what, Steve? Some of us even live in Newcastle.
Yeah, true. I forgot about that. That's the drink, you see. I'm on to my third can. You never trust me on drink. That's why I tend not to drink a great deal. Okay. Yeah, exactly. We've got 5 minutes left, so time to cram in a couple of more sections before we get the final word from you all. And it is a shortened version for obvious reasons of Tweet of the Week. Tweet of the week, and there seems to be a lot of people scouring my timeline, to be honest, and picking up things. And this one was from Barmy2 Toon. He says, I might get one of these done up, Steve. I do like it. If you want to do that, go for it. Q-Tech tends to do them for me. But thank you. This one was from Ace of Spades. He went, Steve, I don't know if he's enjoying his burger or realised he's just bit into his finger. Now, that was a photo of me and Holly at the match last weekend, and he's picked up this guy over my shoulder. I mean, he looks as if he's actually just, I don't know. But it is a good one. It's maybe he's eating it like a wolf. I think that's probably the way to describe it. But yeah, that was good. Thanks for that, mate. PB Boss, this was brilliant. He says, NUFC takeover. My wife's always said she'll show her backside in Fenwick's window if this ever happened. She's not laughing now.
There'll be a queue. There'll be a queue of podcasters that I know of.
Paddy Power's never quick to miss a trick. We're getting nearer and nearer to the dream scenario of Steve Bruce managing a front three of Mbappe, Haaland and Joe Linton. Bloody hope not. Daniel Cope, who has boxed on a few of my shows in the past, he went, is Amanda Staveley single?
Yeah, me.
You're not going to get off to a good start, Dan, if you can't spell her name properly.
No.
That was a good one anyway. Thanks for that, mate. Ben Jacobs, this was before the takeover, it has to be said, but I did like it, and he has been on the show tonight. So international break too. Newcastle United 0. Urgent change needed. Well, Ben, it came, mate. It came.
Yeah. The worm turns.
Fraser Wilson, this could have made Troll of the Week, but I'll let you off. He goes, breaking news, deluded man who got a hiding in Rise of the Foot Soldier talks shite to stay relevant.
You've risen from the dead, though, Steve. You've risen from the dead.
Not quite good enough for Troll of the Week, Fraser, but I didn't block it and I've let you continue. So there we go. Kev from Darlow says, Ozzers watch the news.
That's a classic.
I love that one. There's plenty takeover related ones, of course, but I picked the best ones. This did sum up our last day under Ashley, didn't it? This just shows what a shamble our club is. This is Fernandez wearing the wrong top. Yeah. I mean, we talked about that on the show with Holly on Sunday, and I'm pretty sure the 5-minute run covered it as well. I mean, God almighty, that's a state. Mike Ashley left the club in. Yeah, you did a great job. You left it in a great shape, Mike. Not. This one from Paul Volpe, just been sent this by my mate walking his dog on the town moor.
Nice one, Paul.
And the last one, Funny C said, It's amazing. And I think the Black Garter is now part of Saudi Vision 2030.
Brilliant.
That's got to be tweet of the week. Well done. I know half of these people don't even know they've been picked as tweet of the week, but I do know that people pass it on. So well done. We will squeeze in one of the DI Mets. So here we go. I'm not going to ask for anybody to send any more of these in. We've got far too many of them. And, we've got enough to last the season. I'll probably put a call out in the summer again. But big thank you to 100% Mags. He says, my dad is out at the Metro Centre today. He's just popped into the absolute legend, our very own Gaza, and he is looking great. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, great. I'm gonna do a quick finish off, but I do really just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. I mean, record breaking figures, aren't something that we're used to on this podcast on a Friday, but I think that's probably the most watched show. Over 1,470 was the highest viewing figures. Still got 1,100 watching today. We never take it for granted. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for going on the whole journey with us. We didn't know it was going to be so long. I told you we started this off and we were going to scrap the show, and after lockdown, and you begged us not to. We've kept with it. We've got a great bunch of people on it. And the takeover going through doesn't mean it's an end. It just means it's a beginning, because it just means it's a beginning of a new journey. And, a lot of people were asking us, is Keith Patterson going to stay on the show? Well, of course he is. He's one of the lads, and it's going to be a lot less stressful, we hope. We've got new owners. We've got hopefully a chance to climb up the table, and NUFC matters will continue. I keep saying I can't guarantee I'll always be able to do 7 a week, but we'll always make sure we do the Fab Four on a Friday, because we know you love it. But for now, there'll always be 7 shows. We'll continue to do it as long as we can and entertain you, which is what it's all about, and continue to raise money for good causes, i.e. the food bank, which is what we do, and I'll continue to put events on, and it's a bright start, it's a fresh start, and let's hope we continue. But let's go around the board one more time. You'll notice I have put a banner in the top right hand corner, and it is for Newcastle World. So we'll come to Liam when I speak to him about that. Newcastle World is well worth a follow. Give it a follow on Twitter, especially, but that is Liam's home these days. So we'll come to Liam in a bit. But Keith, final word from you, mate. I guess let's say something to the people watching, because they've been on this journey with us, through the whole takeover scenario. You've been part of this since you wrote your letter and got the CAC case instigated, and ultimately for us, you've been a welcome addition. We lost Ian Mearns. He decided he didn't want to do the show anymore, which was upsetting for me. But ultimately, his loss was our gain in getting you on the show. You've been a great asset, and I gave you a deliberate shout out when I did my interview on Sky yesterday, because I still believe that without that CAC case, this would never have gone through. This takeover we would have still been struggling, and I think that the embarrassment of that hearing, not even a CAC case, the hearing and the whole legal whipping that we gave their boys, we gave them one hell of a thrashing. I think that was the reason this takeover went through, and we've all played small parts in our own little ways. But you put your money where your mouth was, Keith, and I always say you deserve as much praise as anybody in this. So give the people at home watching your last word on NUFC Takeover 2021.
I've been fortunate that the lawyers and the club, and Chair One, you said this week, a lot of people have told us that the deal was agreed before behind then Saudis settled their differences, that the deal was done before that, and it's just great that they said that Justin Barnes said to us this week on the phone. He said we smashed them to pieces legally. They couldn't fight the battle with us anymore, and they didn't want to fight with us anymore in court, that our arguments were too great. I know the evidence I saw was what Robert O'Donoghue used. Robert O'Donoghue rang us this week and he said, I feel like the man who brought Hitler down, because it was Robert O'Donoghue who built this case. And he did it without getting all the credit for it, but he was the guy who was instrumental in this. So don't underestimate what part Robert O'Donoghue played in this. And we delivered them legal points they could never, ever answer. And all I want to say tonight is thanks to all you people who carried me through this, because the journey's been incredible. And the way you've treated me on this journey has been amazing. And it was putting the cat among the pigeons that won this. It was always going to be the cat that they couldn't defend. It was always going to be the disclosure that the cat would bring that the EPL could never get past. So thanks for what you've done for me. I've been treated like a knight by the fans of this football club. And if I disappear or if you don't see us again, you know, it'll be a happy man that walks away. But this show makes us keep coming back, and I want to keep coming back for what you've given me. You've given me probably the best time in my life this week. So thank you.
Yeah, and you got through it, mate. Well done. Steve Hasty, been through the mill as well, mate. You know, you had your problems with your health recently.
Steve.
Well, go on.
Steve, can I just jump in? My phone's about to die.
All right, mate.
So.
And that was it. That's it, Joe. Thanks for that, Mitch.
True to his word.
I mean, guarantee he will plug it back in and be here, I reckon. Steve, give us your views on this.
Yeah, anyone who ever gets involved in high stakes poker and business will know that when the chips are down, when you know you're losing, you always look for an easy out, a way of backing out as gracefully as you can, and you look for every excuse in the book to take away the flack from all your mistakes. And that's what the Premier League did. Premier League were given 2 months in which to find an escape route that made them look good, that looked like a compromise. But we know from everything that we've learned over the last 12 months, and certainly in the last 2 months, that they did capitulate. They were broken. They were broken by the cat. Anyone who believes that the arbitration was the way to go and would have won the day doesn't understand what a 2-1 majority means, because that's what it was sitting at. The cat broke it. Keith was instrumental in providing the club with all the information that they needed. He taught them exactly what a competition appeals tribunal was all about, what a cat case would give them. They learned so much from him. They were gobsmacked at the information that he handed over as part of his dossier of the work that he had done in the previous 6 months. And for that, every fan of Newcastle United should be internally grateful for everything that Keith Patterson has managed to do. And he is the instrumental claimant. And if the club have got any sense, or if the previous owners got any sense, I'm sure that they have told him exactly that. And I'm just merely repeating their words. But you know what? We move on. The club is sold now. We've got new owners. It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning with decent people who will listen to the fans, will take on board, but we've got to let them do it their way. That's the most important thing. Give them time, give them patience. And as Keith said right at the very beginning, give them that support. At the end of the day, we're supporters, not critics. Let's have that next 3 or 4 years of just being on the journey with them. That's all I can say, Steve.
And a quick message, Steve, to people watching. I know you've had a lot of support. You had your account hacked on Twitter. You know, you were a victim of some pretty vile accusations as well. Prior to that, you've been through the mill, mate, and you know you've had to deal with all that as a person. But you know the NUFC Matters crowd have stood by you, and you know there's been I'm not talking about the people you share the platform with. I'm talking about the people who watch at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Some fantastic support, some great messages constantly coming through. When I wasn't feeling too good, I've been ill and back and forth to hospital over the last few weeks with a physical problem. The support that I've had from people, the help and support I've had from the lads and lasses at Loaded, from people all around the world has been absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough thanks for that. It shows you that when fans do come together, when fans realise, when the chips are down, if we all stick together, then we can get through anything really. And it's a huge thanks. I mean, this sort of thing will carry on, no doubt. I've no doubt about that. But when you've got mates like the people around in the room at the moment, and the people unloaded, the people who have supported me, and a good friend like Bill Corcoran, you'll get through anything, quite frankly. And I have. So huge thanks.
Yeah. Joe, over to you, mate. You know, it's been a hell of a ride, mate. You joined us. You know, you're a newbie really compared to some of the people you're sharing the screen with tonight. But you know, give us your views and just a message to the people who watch the show, mate.
I couldn't possibly follow Mr. Hasty and Mr. Patterson, Steve. So I'll keep it brief. I guess firstly, just to thank everybody that watches NUFC Matters, and for every troll out there, there's 200 messages of support, and you know, and the things that we bring to people. But honestly, those people bring me more than I could ever possibly dare to bring them. I mentioned it earlier, to give a special mention to every single one of you that I'm looking at on the screen, but especially to my mate there, Mr. Patterson. What can I say, Keith? We've had some fantastic crack, mate. You know, and long may that continue. And you know, we've got to take over. We've got a bit of hope, but more than anything, over these past couple of years, I've made some friends, and I love you all to bits. And a special mention to that man there, because Keith, I know you're humble, and I know you don't take the accolades very well, mate, but you know, for me, we wouldn't have done it without you, Keith. You've put your neck on the line, mate, and for that, what can we say, mate? Thank you very much. We love you to bits, Keith, and I can't wait to see you next Sunday for a cuddle, mate.
Great stuff, Pete. You know, you've been a regular on this platform really since I started it, and you brought some wonderful guests to the table as well. And you know, it's been a pleasure working with you. It's great to see you flourish on other channels as well. You know, just a message and rounding off really on you know, this amazing journey, and just a message to people who watch.
It has been an amazing journey. It really has, and if it wasn't first and foremost for you, yourself, Steve, Steve H, Hasty, and Mitch, if it wasn't for you guys, I would have never been here right now. So I said it last Christmas, and I'll say it again. Thank you for you guys, for giving us hope. You know, and this is for Keith as well. You know, the one thing I'll say, and I think I speak on behalf of every single Newcastle fan that's watching the show right now, that's in the chat. Thank you guys for allowing us to still have hope about this takeover, about having a better future, when we've been told from journalists and other people on social media to forget about it. It's not happening. It's lies. It's rubbish. You guys are the only ones that have continued throughout every single week to allow us to still have hope. So for more so than anything else, thank you guys for allowing us to be in this position right now where we can be excited about the future of this club. So a massive, massive thank you to you guys. You've allowed us to have hope. You've allowed us to dream again. You've allowed us to come together. You know, I've had the pleasure of meeting you guys. I've not met Steve H yet, but I look forward to the day I do. Joe as well. Fantastic meeting Liam, and obviously I've met Holly a couple of times now. You know, we would have never been able to share this platform if it wasn't for you guys. You guys have set the bar. You guys have set the standard, and we wouldn't be here without you. So a massive, massive thank you to you.
Brilliant stuff. Holly, same question to you.
Yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster ride over the past 18 months, I think it's fair to say. But in the end, I think it was definitely worth it. The positives have heavily outweighed the negatives from my perspective. And everybody that supported NUFC Matters has been fantastic, not just on the podcast, but also people that have supported me through the protests that I did. And just in general, I'm really, really grateful to all of everyone that has given me their support, because people don't have to go out their way to send you these lovely messages, and they do. And they can really brighten up your day. And of course, they don't go unnoticed whatsoever. Big thanks to you, Steve. Of course, I wouldn't be in this position at all if it wasn't for you. Until I joined this podcast, I went to the games week in, week out, and and that was it. And I stayed under the radar. Didn't have a lot of confidence, and you really did change me for the better, Steve. So thank you for that. Of course, Keith, definitely deserves a shout out from the whole fan base. I think it's fair to say he has done more than most for this takeover, and without his work, I really don't believe it would have happened. So honestly, Keith, I think you definitely need to give yourself some praise, and you really need to relax now, because I know it's been very hard going for you for quite a long time now. And Liam as well, he's provided us with some brilliant coverage and constantly keeping the fan base up to date and telling the truth. So that's been great as well. So thank you, Liam.
Brilliant stuff, and a special mention to your dad, Holly, because without your dad, on occasions you wouldn't have got from A to B. He's been brilliant, and he's even helped me get from A to B, taking us to away games. It's been an absolute pleasure, so far this season. The football's been awful, but the company's been great. It's been a pleasure to stand with you and watch Newcastle capitulate every time we've seen them play together. But with the exception of a couple of friendlies. But big shout out to your dad, Dave, who was. Who's also been great, and he's enjoyed watching you, take a step into a new career. And I've got to say, you're thanking me, but I've been very, very proud of the way that you've taken the media like a duck to water.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you've become a swan in the black and white world of media, and rightly so. You've done great. I've watched a few of your interviews already, and I listened to you on the radio again today, and immensely proud that this platform has given so many people that opportunity to go on and do other stuff. And good luck to everybody who does it. And I'm immensely proud of seeing the lads at Loaded, because they started off on this platform. We gave them an opportunity. They've now gone off to try things themselves, and I've mentioned it a couple of times. The lads at Loaded are doing a great job, and Daz and Martin went away with the idea. They took Chris Hall and Pete with them, and then Rich joined them, and it's become a great channel. And anybody who hasn't watched it, give it a watch. I was on there. I went on for 5 minutes last night. I ended up for an hour and a half, thanks to Pete's invite. I needed it though. It was good therapy. But you know what? It's a different channel. It's different content. And it's completely independent of us. Give it a follow, give it a subscribe. It costs nothing to subscribe. Please help the lads get to 1,000 subscribers. It's a big thing for them.
Sorry, can I just say that obviously we are Loaded and we are doing our own thing. But the one thing that we've tried to remember is that we never forgot where we came from. And I think that's, having you guys, Liam, Steve H, Mitch, Stu, Keith, yourself, Holly, we'll soon have Joe on if he's willing to come on as well. And, he's begging. But you know what? Like,
you don't get him off.
Yeah, oh God. We would be there without you, and we always remember where we came from. And we came from you guys, and you Steve gave us the opportunity to be here right now. We've never ever forgot that, and we never ever will. So again, it's a great ride, really enjoying it. But like I say, we'll never forget where we come from. And obviously, me and Chris are still part of the Rant Show, which we absolutely enjoy, and we'll continue to do so.
Yeah. Okay, Liam. First of all, I just want to plug it again because you've got a new job, as we all know. You've moved to pastures new Newcastle World, mate, and I did want to give it a good plug tonight. And NewcastleWorld.com is the website. You've got an elevated position there now, mate, as well. But give us an idea of how it's going there in your first few weeks, and just give us a final word on the takeover, and maybe some message to people who support us, and in particular your show on a Tuesday, which is one of the most popular on the channel, apart from the Fab Four.
Yeah, I'm working for NewcastleWorld.com now. I've actually been promoted to editor, hence why people have been asking me a lot of questions this week, saying, "Are you leaving? What's your new job?" But I'm now the editor, so I'm employing somebody to do my job, and you'll be working alongside me. I'll be your editor, so I'll be going through those applications this week, but fantastic opportunity for me. On the takeover itself, I think just looking around everybody here, like people like Joe, Pete, Holly, it's been really nice to meet like-minded Newcastle United fans throughout this process, and nice to hear different opinions from lots of different people. That goes for everybody else that I've shared a platform with throughout this process in the 18 months. I think I'm not going to miss writing hashtag NUFC takeover. I think that's one thing I won't miss. I'm not going to miss that man, Mr. Sports Direct. I won't even say his name anymore. Despise the man. Don't want to ever see or hear anything to do with him. I won't miss him. But I'll miss a few things. I will miss some things about this takeover process. I'll miss me lengthy phone calls to Mr. Strategy, Steve Hasty. If there's ever a bit of out-of-the-box thinking needed on something, or if we're trying to join dots somewhere, I'll often miss those long, hour-long, 2-hour-long. Sometimes we have to cut each other off because we've got other things to do. There's work to be done, or kids to be picked up, or you've got to take the dog out or something. I'll miss those strategy meetings. That's what I'm going to call them, where we go through every connotation, everything that could happen with a certain decision, and come to some kind of arrangement. And we never know whether we're coming or going by the end. But it's been a fantastic thing, and I will miss those kind of things. I'm sure we'll find something else to talk about in those long conversations. Miss Mitch, he's not here. He swiftly left for earlier, but there's nobody I know that'll come up with some of the information and some of the people and the contacts that he has, and some of the bits and bobs that he'll come up with out of nowhere. Just an incredible mind, incredible person. And in talking of incredible people, Keith, an amazingly selfless person, and that's what I would say about you, Keith. Don't start crying again, man. Come on. You're selfless in this process. Took a lot of criticism. We've all talked about that. I don't really want to give too much airtime to the critics. Let's talk about the positives. You helped, you did your bit, and you've said to me numerous times. You've said, look, if you had the resources, you would do the same as me, Liam. And you know what? I don't know if I would. And I think that's I think you've done things that a lot of people probably wouldn't. You did it without even thinking twice. You did it for the right reasons. You did it. And the first conversation I had with you a year or so ago, you said, the reason why I did this is because I want to see a black and white shirt with a trophy above the head. You said, I want to see Newcastle United win something. And so do we all. So you did this for everybody, and you helped. No, we know, as it's been said before, we know what happened. And we know the conversations you've had. I know the contacts. I've seen evidence of all this kind of thing. So people can sit there on their ivory towers and think they're better than you and take the pee and Mickey take, and it's happened. And it's wrong because they are wrong, and they'll probably never know they're wrong, and they'll probably never admit they're wrong. But we know, and I absolutely know. And I want to say a real special mention for you, Steve Wraith. You brought me on the show, it was about January or February maybe, or March 2020, and I think our relationship, our friendship's gone from strength to strength. I think it's been we've put some incredible shows together. Again, I don't want to give any airtime particularly to the critics, but wow, I've never met somebody so remarkable in terms of, you've got the broadest shoulders I've ever seen, the stick you take, and it almost like goes away from the product that you produce, because the time you commit into these shows every day to keep people's spirits up. You've been steadfast in your loyalty to the buyers of this football club. You've stood by them. You've known a lot of things that you just couldn't say. You've sat there on information that would have compromised if you told, it would have leaked out anywhere. You've stood by those people, and I think you deserve an amazing amount of credit for that, because, again, as I said with Keith, that we probably wouldn't be in this position had you not taken that stance and had you not looked after them. Right. And I hope they look after you too. And it's the same with Keith. I hope you do get looked after, because you've been incredible throughout this process. And I can't thank, again, Keith, I thank you, but Steve, I can't thank you enough for getting us on your platform. And hopefully we'll go on from strength to strength. Long may it continue.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for the kind words. I was all cried out yesterday, and I've made a big, I made a big thing on Twitter about it. Thanks everybody for the support, and I'm just glad I had the common sense to speak to people. And the only thing I missed was the big celebration at St James's Park. For me, 100%, it was a culmination of a lot of things, and I think I do want to reiterate it on this, because it's a big platform, is if you do hit that brick wall at any time, make sure you speak to people. And just want to thank Steve Hasty, Joe, Keith, Pete, Holly and Liam. They all reached out at some point yesterday to say, are you okay? Because, they expected us to be at the ground, but, I'd hit a brick wall because of Richard Green, who was a huge part of Rafa's backroom staff. He was his lawyer. He passed away. He battled cancer. He beat his battle against cancer, and then he got hit with COVID and he passed away in the early part of this year. And he really was part of the grand plan. The original plan was Amanda Ramirda to walk through the doors, Rafa to be manager, Owen Brown to come in as director of football, and Richard would have been part of that as the legal side of things. And other people who now are in those positions will always have to be thankful to that initial meeting, because it was Owen and Richard who introduced me to Amanda in October 2017. And I had 2 hours. I had 2 hours to do a job, sit and chat to them and sell them Newcastle United. And anyone could have done that. Anybody could have. Any fan who's followed Newcastle for any amount of period could have said to them, this is what it brings, this is what it does. And I'm just so glad I ended up in that position. I could do what I did. It's a small cog in a huge, it's a small part of that DNA. But like I said about Keith, if any of that DNA hadn't worked, we would have been knackered. I did my bit. Keith's done his bit. Everybody on this platform has done their bit because they've sung from the same hymn sheet as us. And you guys who've watched it have had faith in what we were saying. And that's the key. And I hope people don't mind. And I said I would quite happily take the custard pie. I haven't got one tonight, but I'm sure I can get one. But you know what? I deliberately downplayed it. After that whole situation developed in the car with me, Keith and Liam on my way down to the pre-season friendly. And I felt it was the best thing for the takeover if I stopped being as positive. And I'm glad I did. And I said I would happily take a custard pie if I was wrong. And I'm really pleased that I was, because Keith still had the faith. I just didn't want to continue to give you all false hope. And look, it made last night's party all the bigger for you guys, because you were all nobody expected what came yesterday, and it came. And look at the release of emotion. In Bulgaria, in Newcastle, wherever, everyone's over the moon. Ashley's gone, new owners are in, and we can start afresh. And it's absolutely fantastic. And just thank you to everybody who's watched. Picked up another 600 subscribers this week, and that really is testament to this channel. 42,600 subscribers. It's the biggest Newcastle United fans platform, and it will continue to be that. For as long as we can continue to do the shows. I do want to say obviously a couple of thank yous again to the sponsors, Spider VPN, skipsandbins.com, John at Jab, and John at QTech, because they've been with us all the way through the process. Without them, would have been difficult. Would have had to put my hand in my pocket and do, spend it on the StreamYard and do the various things. But it's made it more professional. We've managed to get, guests on and that, which we probably wouldn't have been able to get on. But it's a big thank you to you. I want to thank everybody who supported the food bank. I know that Steve is going to plan an announcement probably for Christmas, the Christmas do. We're going to come up with a total of what we raised throughout the lockdown and through the takeover. So we'll probably announce that in the November due. George Hayes, who has been remarkable through the whole takeover process, has just bid, and it'll be the final bid, £200 for the Jeff Hendrick t-shirt. So that is the final bid that has gone in, and George said he would pay that regardless. Thank you for you, George, once again for supporting the food bank. So he's already paid the money, Steve, as you would imagine. He's got the bank account on his on his payers list, and he's already paid the money. So £200 is what we made on that. We've got the J7 t-shirt, which will go up next. In fact, no, we've actually got a new t-shirt in honor of a man sitting on the screen, and this is a late arrival from QTech. So forget the J7 t-shirt. This is the t-shirt for the food bank. Just one letter. Newcastle Consortium supporters. Just one letter. Thank you for that, John. So that's your t-shirt. I'm going to put that up on Twitter. Brilliant. Just one letter. And I think what we'll do with that one, Keith, is we'll get John to get that to you, and you can sign that for whoever wins.
Definitely, and I'll bid £100 on it straight away, just so it doesn't go for silly money.
There we go. So it's £100. We just want to say thank you to Kieran Byrne, who he says, "Can you squeeze this in?"
Well done, Kieran.
Very funny, mate. I sent out one in Newcastle, and I think it was Bill who did this one. Thanks for this, mate.
That's brilliant.
That's definitely how I looked yesterday. I've got to be honest. Morose, sad, confused, but that is definitely it. And Julie Baker, if you've stood the full extra half an hour, which we've mistakenly done, you'll not be disappointed. This did make me giggle, this one. Watch Steve Wraith shows, mate. Paul Watson. Have a wank using sandpaper.
You must have done it before.
Absolutely brilliant. We'll leave with this comment. What a great night last night. The first of many nights for us under our new amazing owners. Lots of comments coming in here. They've really enjoyed the show tonight. And thank you very much. Whatever floats your boat. Exactly, Jason. Look, Keith Patterson, thank you. Steve Hasty, Joe Walker, Pete Davey, Holly Blades, and Liam Kennedy from NewcastleWorld.com. Go and enjoy your weekend. This is the last time we will mention NUFC Takeover on NUFC Matters, and thank the bloody Lord for that.
And thanks to you, Steve. Thanks to you. You put all this together. You've kept us going as much as we've kept you going. You deserve all the praise from everyone. And I just want to give you a big round of applause, mate.
Here, Steve. Absolutely.
Thanks for everything you've done for me, Steve. Thanks for everything you've done for me this journey. Been a legend.
Looking forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Love you lots.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.